Hey, what's up, everybody? We don't know who the Night Owls are, but we were up and we thought we would go live and actually answer questions that anybody might have. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing all right. It's We're here, and it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mhm.
It's crazy.
How you
Well,
doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We woke up and it's we're here on a trip on our honeymoon, and
Finally, a honeymoon.
I know. We had to spend a couple weeks just kind of, you know,
We were living our life for a couple weeks.
yeah, stuff with the kids and everything, and now we got a chance to get this big fancy hotel room and
No children.
no kids, no
I don't
kids.
even want to see any children. I don't want to see none.
Okay, so the first question actually is from Christiana Davy, who says,
We have a question already?
"Yeah, why are you up in the middle of the night?" Looks like Christiana might be white. It's okay, you could be white to be here. We don't discriminate. But then again, she might be light skinned like you.
Don't say light skinned it.
Light skinned.
It's not a word.
Oh, that is a word. In the 80s, that was a word. She says, "Why are we up in the middle of the night? Because we're weird like that." And that's the key.
No, there's an answer. We
What's
we
your
had a
answer?
long flight, and we were tired
Okay.
and went to sleep early, and then woke up in the middle of the night.
We totally did.
We
And
were hungry and tired.
true. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went to sleep. And then, well, that's the thing. When you have, like when you have like your own business and everything, you kind of live on whatever schedule you want. And so, we just get up when we get up and sleep when we want to sleep. That's why I really recommend every black person get their own business. So let's,
Well, can I add something
yeah,
to it?
yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah, but you were on vacation too. So people who are on vacation, even if you don't have your own business, like you don't have to like do anything. You're just done. You're off the clock.
That's true. Well,
So
I like
put your
what
vacation time in. You
I like my work though. Like I don't consider working to be a job. Like I haven't had a job in 30 years.
Uh huh.
I haven't. I just don't. I mean, when I do what I do, like I'm working right now technically, but I'm laying in the bed talking to you, so that's not exactly work.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. And but there's some people with a job, with a regular employment, who feel like they're
Mhm.
living their purpose in life.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and that's the key. It's whatever it looks like for you, and whatever it lays out for you. Sometimes it just, every scenario is different for the actual person.
yeah.
That's what I think. Like, I don't want to say one way is better than another way.
I
It just
agree.
doesn't fit.
If
Right.
somebody has a job and they love their job, I'm happy as hell for them. I did
Yeah.
not do well working for white people. I just didn't. They didn't like
That's
me.
because,
I didn't like half of them. It wasn't that I hate
why did
anybody.
you have to bring that sort of thing to your job? It's a job.
No, well, being a black man is a little bit interesting. It's just kind of
The thing, well, I hear that. Now, that part I definitely can relate to. So I can't relate to being a black man, but I can relate to the issues
yeah,
that you get confronted. But the thing is you can't let anything like that like really tear you down, because you have to find joy in whatever you do,
yeah.
because it's your life that you live.
I agree. I totally love what I do. I don't, like I said, I don't work. It's not even work for me. This is talking to black people is fun. That's not even work for me.
Yeah,
So let's
but
see.
it also has this challenge. Like, no matter what you decide to pursue as your purpose in life, you try to get joy out of it, because
Mhm.
there's always going to be challenges.
Yeah, I say, but if people's
There's
purpose is
pros
to,
and
if
cons.
people's purpose is to work like the 9 to 5, I don't hate on it. It
Yeah,
just wasn't for me. Like I would rather be dead than continue in this path. Like
exactly.
I was literally so if I had a son or if I had another child or daughter or anything like another child, I would totally train them. Even with our kids, I don't talk to them about jobs at all.
Oh, wait, hold on.
I
If you
don't.
had another child, no.
No, I'm not having any more now. I don't want to have any more
Come
kids.
on.
Yeah, I'm totally done.
You
I'm totally done.
speaking that.
Well, you did a favor for me. The fact that you already had 3 kids really helped me a lot because I get to start right in the middle. I don't have to change diapers again and start over from
You
like
don't like,
ground
there you
zero.
go with those diapers
I did
again.
not enjoy changing diapers. Are stinky as hell.
Yeah, but it's your love. It's your baby. You want to make sure they're comfortable. That's the whole thing. It's like I find so much joy in parenthood, even though changing a diaper is something that's like it has its challenges, but it's just beautiful to see the joy on a baby's face when they're nice and clean and
Okay.
happy,
All
and
right.
they can depend on you.
Okay. All right. Next question.
Okay, we're doing next. We're doing next question. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna. We can go back and forth
it's a
about that all
beautiful
day.
thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
D Calico says peace mores. Somebody through knowledge fest brought it to my attention that that we shouldn't call ourselves black. Maybe we should call ourselves Moors.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Yes, I agree with it, but I'm still gonna use the word black.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's okay to use both. I
I
really
like the
do.
Moorish Science Temple and all that stuff. They get really good information. I take
Hmm.
information from a lot of places like that.
Well,
It's really good.
you don't mess with certain groups of people when they're really on their game. You just don't really mess with them because you know that they are coming with some creative and unique perspectives that could be beneficial to the community. Like I have a lot of friends that are either Hebrew Israelite, maybe Nation of Islam, things like that,
Yes.
and they just really they're people make fun of them, but those people that make fun of them are usually ignorant people. Like they don't understand like just how they create and craft their own ideas, and you have to hear that. Like you can disagree, and they don't typically, the ones I know don't tend to be judgmental about whether you disagree. They just give you their point of view and they want to be heard. And I like hearing it, because it helps me to kind of understand life from a lot of angles.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the Nation of Islam, the things that they teach, and what did you say, Hebrew Israelites? They
Hmm.
also the stuff that just the history of the Hebrew Israelites and how they claim, that they were the chosen ones and we are the chosen one. Like I love it. I'm not joining it though.
Well,
I'm
I'm
not
not.
in that group. I don't want to join no
Well, we're
groups.
not group joiners. We're not in the go
No.
along to get along gang.
Oh, okay. But I'm not interested in like cuz when you join a group, like you have to do what the group tells you to do.
Mm.
You have to follow those group rules. And I'm not that's just not my certain thing, but it's okay if it's other people's certain thing. Like I'm not going to talk that just like your job. You can work wherever you feel that it's your purpose. I don't think it's my purpose to join those groups, but I see lots of value in it.
Well, they said that in
Mhm.
politics, they say there's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. So what I like to do is I like to form groups around interests. Like so, when I say B1, like we have the B1 philosophy and the B1
What's
coalition.
B1 stand for, boys?
You know what it means, black first. That we put
Really?
ourselves at the top of the priority list. You don't listen to our
Of
podcast?
course. I'm just asking
Oh,
just to
okay. I was
be.
making sure.
I
I was
like
like,
B1. When I say B1, for
what?
me, I
Hmm.
think about Boyce one.
Oh, I'm your number one.
Yeah, Boyce one.
Oh,
I'm all about Boyce
and
one.
then there's the rapper Spice one, but that's another conversation.
We gotta play. I brought my
Well, did
speaker.
I tell
We gotta
you?
play some music.
Please, definitely do. Did I tell you that when I went down to with Willie D and the Ghetto Boys or Scarface when I was on the
Oh,
podcast?
Scarface.
Did I tell you about that when I told I told Willie and Scarface that my favorite rapper was Spice One, and then Scarface said I talked to Chico the other day.
Who's Chico?
Sorry, Chico's the nickname that Spice One has, so he's got two nicknames: Spice One and Chico.
Yeah, but Spice One, he hasn't put any music out in a while, so I don't think he's. Is he busy?
I
I don't
don't
think he's
know. Well,
terribly
he's probably
busy.
just getting older, but that was one of
Yeah,
my
our
favorite
favorite
rappers.
rappers are up there in age now.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
these rappers from the 80s and
well,
the
we're changing the
90s.
subject. It's totally my fault. I
Okay.
totally took the conversation to the Bay Area, and it wasn't even. We were on the other side of the country.
It's the
What's
Bay
wrong with
Area
me?
is what's up. What you talking
The
about?
Bay Area's got the best black people ever.
I love it.
That's my second favorite place. Well, actually, it's top five.
Mm.
I'm not even gonna rank it. Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn because the black people in Brooklyn are really smart and really they're very pro black and they're unapologetic. They're not scared as opposed to like the South. Sometimes in the parts of the
Mm.
South, you feel like they gotta ask for white people's permission before they can be like pro black. Like, boss, is it okay for me to love myself? Whereas people in Brooklyn are like, F you, we don't care. Like we just and then I like Black London. Black London is great. The black people in London. Remember we went to London?
Black London is wonderful. I would like to go back to London. I want to do London again.
Yes, and Taylor did her dance at the event, and everybody loved it and gave her standing
Oh,
ovation.
she had a rush. She had a rush.
Oh yeah,
She
y'all
was
y'all
in
boosted
her.
y'all boosted her self esteem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Los Angeles, and I love Houston, and and of course my city, Louisville. I was there last week. That was fun. Okay, so ready for the next question? We got to keep going. We can't keep on just.
It's too long on each question. Is that the problem?
We're just some long-winded college professors. That's our problem. Okay, so somebody's
We
got.
like to pontificate.
Yeah,
Is that what it
Keith
is?
Gavin asks, "What's the better investment at this time, real estate or stocks?" Actually, both of them are solid for a diversified portfolio. I like stocks the most because stocks are just hot, and you can even invest in real estate through your stocks. Like you go through a real estate investment trust. When I want to buy more real estate, I actually just go through the stock market and buy into a real estate investment trust. Someone asks, well, "How do you deal with your partners in securities?" Do you have a thought on that? Because you're the relationship therapist. So why don't you tell me what you?
Well, it depends on the type of insecurities.
Okay.
I mean, everybody has something,
Hmm.
right?
Right. Okay.
Um, I think your job is, with your partner is to build each other up,
Mm,
and really value the other person and be respectful of them.
mm,
So if they're dealing with an issue that triggers them, you get down to it. And I don't like when I see people like turn someone's insecurity um into something where they just feel like, oh, that's your problem. I don't
mm,
have to, because what are you doing to contribute to that insecurity? You're
mhm,
supposed to heal each other. So if a person has a hang up, you're supposed to explore that.
mm,
Wow, why does that hang up? And you're supposed to change your behavior because of it. You don't want
mm.
to say that's your problem. That's your insecurity. I can't do nothing. That's just not nice to do. You work on it together. I'm
Yeah.
all about togetherness.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would. It almost seems to me like it might be. I personally feel now you're the therapist, and by the way, Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. She sees clients on relationships and stuff. So if you're interested, that's her website. You can also follow her on Instagram at coaching with Dr. Alicia, if you want to. But I've always felt like my insecurities belong to me. Like if I, for example, like somebody put out some really hilarious meme where they thought that because you were standing 2 inches closer to Willie D in that picture, that you're secretly in love with Willie D. Now, there are some guys who would be really offended by that, who would be like, wait a minute, wait, is that really what's going on? Why was this happening? Right. And I'm not in that category because I had to be sure I had to be sure that you love me before I would ever, my God, marry, right? And so it's like, but if I did have that insecurity, I don't really know if I think you could do things to try to maybe stroke my ego or convince me that's not true. But I've seen people try to tap dance around a person's insecurities, and even though the person insists on being insecure. So I've always felt. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I mean, I'd like to get you got a final word on this since
You
you're the
said
therapist.
tap. You saying tap dance?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've seen people. I don't know if anybody in the audience knows what I'm talking about. I've seen scenarios where, like for example, I've seen maybe a woman deal or man or person deal with a jealous partner who was jealous and insecure about everything and everybody all the time. And they were constantly trying to like, oh, don't wear that outfit. Where were you last night? You need to call me every 30 minutes, and I think that gets exhausting. Like I personally would say I feel like my insecurities belong to me. Like I choose to not be insecure about certain things. And if I chose not to be, I don't really know how much you could actually change that. What do you think? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I think anything can be changed. I think anything can be worked through and
But can you
changed.
change a person's feelings?
No, you can't. The point is not to change any of their feelings. The point is that they're communicating something to you, so you
Mm-hmm.
explore it. I think I answered a lot of that earlier, but it's something that should be explored. Like, what's your history with this area? What's your
Mm,
history with that person? Maybe someone's insecure or jealous because maybe you're not protecting the relationship like you need to. Maybe you have some inappropriate relationships with other people. Maybe there's a reason for it. You just always ask, like, where's the evidence? I always ask that a lot. Show me
mm,
the evidence. Slow the conversation down
mm,
and say, hey, instead of battling back and forth with each other, you don't want to do that. You want to say, okay, so you think this is what's going on. You got any evidence to support it? Or is it just something you're just making up in your head? If you're
mm,
making it up in your head, Tell me where'd that come from? What's your history about that? Let your partner tell a story. Tell
Mm.
me a story about why this is coming up for you. I mean, you can do that with your partner and really get to know them better
Yeah, I
and
can
say,
see that.
wow, that's such an issue. And then once you really hear it, just say, what can I do to help you?
Right.
What would you
Okay.
like for me to do? I mean, I don't think it's, I mean, I think I don't want to get into this toxic space where someone is just controlling. There are controlling people who are
Yeah.
just controlling
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about because I can think about times
for
where
no
somebody
reason.
was insecure no matter what. Like they just carry that. And it's I don't know, it's kind of tough. But I personally feel I know personally with myself when I was younger, I sat and I looked at jealousy and I don't like jealousy as an emotion. I don't feel like it. I feel like as a man, it makes you small. It makes you less desirable, right? And so I confronted jealousy in my early 30s and said, what's going on? What's triggering this? And how do you manage? So I did research. I started reading on the internet, like how to overcome jealousy, how to not be jealous, and how to process things in a way where you come away feeling healthy. So I really worked through a lot of that. And because I didn't want to be a jealous man. I saw other guys who would be super jealous all the time. And what would happen is it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you're scared somebody's gonna take your woman, but then somebody does take your woman because you're acting like a little wimp.
Okay, that's and well, you brought up two things. You brought up where it could be you're jealous for no reason at all, but there could be, maybe you need to have a conversation with someone, an honest conversation with someone about how they feel.
True that,
I
true
don't know.
that.
Let's move on to the next
Okay.
question.
Christiana Davies says white people suck. Don't worry. Keep going, honey. That's so funny. I swear Christiana looks white, but I'm not judging.
White
I'm glad you're
people,
here.
what is it
D
about white
D says
people?
get Karen off the screen. No, we don't hate anybody here, D. You don't have to be black to be on my platform. Just and
Oh my
understand
goodness. See,
as
I think
as
like
long as you respect the B1
that's
philosophy.
not nice. This is someone who just tuned into with us. You know what? Shout out to everyone that's in here with us in the middle of the night,
I know, right?
Karen or no Karen, you know. So
Yeah,
shout out to
absolutely.
that.
Shout out. We love
Hmm.
you. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. Please hit the thumbs up button.
Do people say shout out anymore? Is that just like an
Well,
old
we
term?
gonna say it. We're gonna bring it back in style. Okay, so Mike says, "What is your recommendation on how married couples should manage money, number of bank accounts, etc.?" I'll let you get. We can give a his and hers answer on that. What is your thought on that, babe?
Manage money?
Yeah,
Oh, well, you definitely have. Let's see, managing money. It all depends, right? Doesn't it depend on your situation?
I think it depends on how much money you have. It also depends on your shared values. Some families do that whole joint everything. Um,
What do you
I
mean joint everything? Well,
like
you
where
can't have
all
joint
maybe all
everything.
the money goes into the same account. I do think that communication about money is very important. I think that you gotta.
Oh, big time importance.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, communication about money is extremely important. I think it's just so important for couples to be together with the money situation, have a plan.
Mm,
I think there is nothing more fulfilling than to sit down and say, here's what I got, here's what you got. Let's pull it all together and let's all work for a common cause.
that's romantic to you,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's so
Like
romantic.
I
Like,
get I get my
let's look at
nickels,
our
you get your nickels, and
bills.
we buy an Arby's sandwich together
Yeah,
and
we
cut it
pull
in
it
half.
together and we doing it. I just think I love it. I think that's so great. And nothing hurts more than financial infidelity. It
Mm,
hurts. It hurts deep down.
mm.
It's just like it's
Well, how would
painful.
you define financial infidelity?
Where you think you working as a team,
Mm,
you a team, but you not. There's no team. The other partner is
mm,
going behind your back without your knowledge, and
mm,
just doing stuff with the household money that they shouldn't be doing with it. And it's to the point where that can be very surprising. That could be very shocking. You talk about trust.
mm,
You learn not to trust the other person, and it's hard to regain that sort of trust
mm.
in relationships. And I think that communication is important. You're married. You're an institution. You're building things together. Now it doesn't. You don't have to have total control over someone's money. Of course, you have your own sort of money, but in the grand scheme of things, everything's working toward a common goal together.
Mm,
And you don't want to feel alone in this world. You got your partner with you. Y'all
mm,
together, Bonnie and Clyde.
mm.
you
Bonnie and
know,
Clyde. Well, yeah. Well,
conquering the
when I
world.
wrote my book, Financial Lovemaking, a long time ago, I remember that financial infidelity used to really piss the women off. The men would be more worried about things like somebody taking their stuff.
No,
Like if
financial
I
infidelity. You found that it wasn't so bad for
no,
men?
I found that for women it was a very big deal. For men, it was that men seem to be more concerned about other things. You know, um, like just the concern about getting married and somebody taking your stuff. Like that was a big fear a lot of men have
Mm-hmm.
about being violated. And I totally got that. I mean, just be honest. Like it made it easy for me to marry you because you had your own stuff. So it's like if you have your stuff and you're protecting your stuff and I'm protecting mine, then that's fine. But it's a little bit awkward when somebody sees your stuff as their stuff and they ain't got no other stuff. That's a different conversation. You know.
So what do you mean? So you have a lot of you bring in a lot to the table financially, and you marry someone who has nothing. They don't
Yeah.
bring anything to the table. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. I think people have to just kind of know what it is. Just make sure you understand like
Yeah.
they're not gonna leave their relationship broke as they came.
Hmm.
Like they're not gonna do that. Nor should they, right? So if you got $100,000 or whatever in your bank account and you marry somebody that's got nothing.
Nothing in their bank account. Yeah, I mean that's a big deal too, and also debt. How much
Yeah.
debt you have is a
Mm,
huge deal. Yeah, you could be making a whole lot of money, money, but you in a lot of debt, and that is also painful.
debt and spending habits.
Yeah, so that's also painful too when you have a lot of debt and you haven't told your partner about it. That's
Mm,
also kind of like
that's true.
just not being honest about it and because you're ashamed of it. Some people made terrible decisions and you have to be able to come clean with your partner about all of it,
Mm,
financially, and you just have to it's going to take you to say, "Yeah, I messed this one up and I had to
yeah.
do this and I got all this debt." And yeah, what was the other thing? You mentioned another thing.
I don't know what
You
I
said
bet.
you said debt and
Spending habits.
spending. Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Men, that's where men tend to complain
Hmm.
with their wives just spend a whole bunch of money, retail therapy, and they have to live this elaborate, this certain lifestyle that's really not conducive to what a man feels comfortable with. So that's what I see. I see that a lot in my office in terms of money
Yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah. I think observing your partner's financial personality and making sure you can live with that is a big deal. Um, I've also felt I'm old school. I feel like men should learn how to make money. Like that's the most important thing for a man to learn. At least from my book, that's the most important thing I ever learned was how to make enough money. And then when you go spend money, I don't care. It's really honestly not a big deal. It's like okay, you bought what you want, you're happy. But if I were struggling, like if I was trying to squeeze together every nickel, then maybe I would be a little pissed off. I'd be like, wait a minute, you did retail therapy on my dime. But like
Yes, resentful. Because again, you're not working as a team. You're just being impulsive and you're going out and making these purchases and you're only thinking about yourself and you're buying material things and you're not investing and you're not working toward a common goal. That is very
yeah,
that make me mad. That would be infuriating
yeah. Well,
to know
money.
you didn't invest up the money.
Well, money feels like food to me, right? If you're in a house where there's plenty of food, I don't care if you got an extra piece of chicken or two pieces of sweet potato pie. I don't give a damn. But if we're barely making it by, like we barely have enough food for everybody, I might fight you over that last cheeseburger or whatever. Right? Not you, but like so. I think that having abundance does help. Like I think if you're able as a team able to partner together and make more money, like that couple that I interviewed, where they started a little business, they were struggling, and then now
Hmm.
they're 31 years old. They make $6.5 million this year. So what that this shifts the dynamic. I really think it gives you one less thing to argue about because there's abundance. There's plenty for everybody. It's not. I'm not gonna get mad at you because you bought a Gucci purse. I just don't care.
Yeah,
At
but
least,
how much?
at least me,
How?
I don't. I don't.
Yeah, but some people they're insatiable. It's like how much is enough? And okay, yeah, maybe money is important in terms of like what you bring. into the house, but are you bringing love into the house?
I think love. I
Are
think that.
you, you know,
I
are
think.
you bringing?
I think it's a separate issue, right? I think that
Well,
love.
it's kind of related, I think.
Oh, I think. Well, I think it's the same. I mean, it's related, but it's separate. Meaning that, yeah, like I think in a marriage you bring the love. That's a given, right? You got to bring the love. You got to bring the love. If you don't love your partner, then that's kind of weird, right? Although sometimes you got to think about the paying the bills. Like that lady said, ain't nothing going on but the rent. So don't be trying to make love to me if the bills ain't paid. So I'm a pragmatist on that, and that's where you and I are a little bit different. You're romantic. You kind of when it comes to the money part, like you said, the love thing is more important for you, and I get that, right? But for me as a man, I am very adamant about making sure my family's secure. Like that's really important to my masculinity. If I don't do that, I feel like I haven't succeeded.
Yeah,
You know,
but you're good enough. You're good enough no matter how much money you have.
I
Like
know I
you
know
bring
that I know these things,
you
but
bring value to a relationship, just you being you,
I
Boyce.
know these things, but I'm not going to be dating you with a Burger King uniform. I'm sorry, no disrespect to those who work at Burger King. I'm not dissing that. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
telling you that it's like how like I would go to my grandma's house, and she really felt it was important that we got fed. It was really important for her to cook for us. And we'd be like, no, grandma, you ain't got to cook for us. We're going to go to, we're going to stop at McDonald's or whatever. And she'd be like, no, I need to cook for you.
Yeah,
Like
because
you need
McDonald's
to,
is not the
or it
nurture
could be a health,
nutrient.
or it could be a
Okay.
vegan restaurant. It don't matter. Right. But what I'm saying is grandma felt like it was important for grandma to cook for us because that was grandma's expression of love. It didn't matter what we thought. It didn't matter that we thought, food was not a big deal. For grandma, food was a big deal. Like her cooking was a reflection of her grandmahood, her womanhood. Like, did she do her job as a woman in her mind? Not to say every woman is supposed to cook, but that was grandma's. So for me as a man, providing for my family matters. It doesn't mean I can't be a great husband if I was broke. I know I would be. I'm a great guy, right? I think I am. I hope I am. Maybe I'm not, but I think I am. And but still, in my household, the way I saw things, like I'm like Chris Rock. Remember Chris Rock said, if the kids are dirty, if that's the mama's fault. He said, but if the lights are out, that's the daddy's fault. I come from that generation.
Okay, so I can I say something
Yeah, sure.
about that? Okay. So what I want to say is that there are many people who go and they just buy things, to fulfill some sort of void in them. And
Right.
so
Okay.
they'll spend money on things when really what they need is love and attention from their husband or from their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it compensates for something that's lacking. And I think that's what I mean when I said bring the love. And love is just not a feeling. Love
Mm-hmm.
is what you do in the
Right.
relationship. It's how you make that person feel valued.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, and I think like that's the thing. It's like some men believe that what are you complaining about? You got food on the table, you got clothes on your back, you got a roof over your head. What else do you want from me? And so men who get into that sort of space, it's like leave me alone and let me go and watch, I don't know, the NBA game. Well, there's a lot of loveless. That's not a rich family.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be rich with your interaction with that person. And it's more than just, it's an intimate connection. It's more than just everything's taken care of. What the heck is going on?
I get that. I
It's
get that.
more than that.
I do get that. And I think one of the challenges though that I hear from a lot of guys is the guys don't know what the hell people want.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, you're not happy, you don't feel like I love you enough. And guys are like, I'm here every day, like I'm doing my best. What do I need to do? So I think that I think
Yeah.
I put some of that on, like if a partner is running around saying they're not happy, I put it on that person. Like tell the person what they need in order for them
Yes.
you to be happy,
That is
and
so
describe it
good.
and make
Yeah.
it reasonable. Because I think it is kind of frustrating for a lot of guys where they feel
Yeah.
like damn, like I'm doing everything I can think to do,
But it's
and you're telling me not.
material
It
for
might.
material
Well,
things.
that's true, but it's
Yeah.
almost. But I mean, but sometimes a guy will even do the things that are not material, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
and I think also it's one of those things where I think that for some guys, they don't feel like people take the time to understand their love language. My love language is not the same as, say, like yours. Like you.
We got your love language is fun. I like I think your love language is like my second. highest love language?
Mm.
Like, okay, so Boyce is B1, Boyce 1. So, Boyce, your love language is physical touch.
Yeah, it is.
I
But
like that.
well, also, I sorry when I say love language in this
Oh, wait, are you
context.
talking about something
Well, what
different?
I'm referring to actually is my expression of love, how I show I love you, right? Like I'm not like if I have sex with you, that's not my way of showing love because I, as a, I just
Wait, hold up.
no, why
Hold
not you?
up.
We won't talk. We're not gonna make this a sex conversation,
Okay, but
but really, I sleep. I wanted to sleep with you because I was attracted to you. You're a very pretty lady. But just to be honest, there's ladies. There's a lot of pretty, beautiful black women, right? That a man could be physically attracted to. But my expression of love, that's so sex is might be more my expression of lust. My expression of love is when I'm willing to sit and argue with you if I don't give a damn about you, I'm not
mm-hmm.
going to even listen to what you have to say.
Yes.
I'm going. You come to me with
Mm-hmm.
something crazy, I'm going to walk away, right? Because I'm very good at that. I have to walk away. I have 100,000 people on the internet who hate me. Join the club, right? But if I love you, I'll sit there and be like, okay, what is it now? Right? And I care because it's something I want to fix, right? My other way of
Okay,
showing
you're
love.
moving on to another point.
No, I'm giving you I'm telling you my ways of showing love.
Okay, can
Is
I respond to that first one?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I want to say that's a great example of intimacy because when you have an intimate relationship with someone, you do give them you got permission to argue with them in that way. I mean, it needs to be constructive, and then you need to solve problems together because you're two different people. But that's you give each other permission for that. So that's what makes an intimate relationship so unique
Mm.
because they have access to you in a way no one else should.
Mm. Yeah,
So I think that's great. Okay, move on to your next point. I just
yeah.
wanted to make a point to your
No,
one
no,
point.
that's it. That's about. But just tell you like that's like I show my love by putting up with your shit. Um, if I'm spending my time with you, my time is really valuable for
Your
me.
time,
My
yeah.
time is rare, right? So if I give time to something, it's easy for me to give money to something because money, I have enough money to do what I want to do. I guess I'm blessed in that. I guess that's a blessing. I appreciate that. But it's like time is everybody's the same amount of time. So if I give time to someone or
Wait,
something,
you said everybody? Oh, everybody gets
yeah,
the same
everybody
amount of
has
time.
24
Yeah.
hours.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
third is if I share my resources related to like money or career and all that. Like, that's another thing. Like when I hustle for you to make sure you have everything you need, like that's my expression of love. That's me saying, okay, I'm making sure you're good, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I
But can I make a comment about time?
yeah.
Yeah, quality time is yeah, because you were moving on to other points, so I want to make a comment about quality time is so important for me too. I
Mm,
like that. You give me quality time, and I don't have to have all your time. But I like having like good quality time with you. Really makes a difference for me. Like, because it lets me like we keep that connection going for me. So I
yeah.
like that. I like the quality time is good. Okay, so you were
Yeah,
mentioning
I had
something.
to take that time to figure that out too.
Yeah,
That connection piece and what that means for you. Yeah.
I
So
like that.
let's switch gears.
Wait,
So
you were gonna make another point. It was really interesting.
oh, I don't have any more points. I
Oh,
can't. I don't. I mean, I'm sure there's something else I could say on this, but because I could.
are there more questions? And I don't
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like to
By the
look at the
way,
chat.
hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Also, we have a YouTube channel called the Black Love Channel. The URL's on the screen, theblacklove.channel.com, where you can actually kind of pop in and we do stuff like this maybe a couple times a week.
Okay, you talked about hustle. You hustle to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, I was raised with some old school black man values from my daddy. Shout out to my daddy. I love the man.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing my father always did was he always made it a point to come through as a great man for the people that depended on him, and that's what held our family together. My father is he's a king. He's a guy that basically taught me when it comes to your family and the people you love, you do what you got to do. You come through. Period. And he always came through for us. He came home every day. He made sure we had what we needed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he was there for us. He protected us in every way. What nothing, like you hear about families where some, little girl gets molested by her mama's boyfriend or Uncle Willie or whatever. No, my dad would protect us from all of that. And that's what I think people.
So he concentrated his efforts into what was important to him and made sure that the people in his family were protected. I think that's like really great. And he showed his love in a way. It wasn't just about money though. It wasn't about his time and effort. And I'm sure your mom felt good about that.
Yeah,
To
well,
know that she's not surprised by information or surprised by stuff.
well,
That
I don't.
has to feel
Well,
good.
that part I don't know if she was ever surprised by things. I mean, my father was not
Well,
a
that's how you protect.
he's not a perfect person, but for 47 years, my mother's very proud of my father, and she
Yeah.
knows that while he's flawed, because I mean, the man's a soldier, and soldiers, it's a double-edged sword to being a soldier. You're tough and you can defend and protect, but you have demons, you have imperfections, and
Yeah.
if you're up a man's ass about his imperfections, he can't be his best self. Like,
Yeah.
and so my mother kind of just, she was, she had a old school philosophy about let a man be a man, that kind of thing, and that way, whatever that meant for them, and
Yeah.
that allowed my father to have his expression of manhood in a way that made us feel safe. Like
Yeah, I
if you
think that's
yeah, like me and my siblings, we don't have issues. Like we love our dad, like 100%. My mother loves mine, so it's like I just admired that, and I think a lot of the people who don't value fathers, they probably never had the protection of a father, so they had a lot of chaotic things
didn't have the
happen.
protection. Yeah, and I also think that yeah, you're right because I always felt that my dad protected me like growing up.
Mm.
I always felt that he was just always interested in me and he always came through for me as a child and growing up. He was always there. We spent time together. We I see and even people who were um unfortunate enough not to have a father in their life, they still I think on some level understand the value of a father. Because on some level they see that fatherhood is important. And so I mean, no one and I hate the fact that there's some fathers who feel undervalued and for what they do, and I think that's unfortunate. Hopefully we can Father's Day just passed a few weeks ago. I hope all the fathers in here and all of us really contributed and made fathers feel special. Did you feel special on Father's Day?
Yeah. Oh
Did we
yeah.
make you feel
Oh
we
yeah.
made
Well,
you feel good or
yeah,
what?
yeah. But
Okay.
well, I'm cheated because my Father's Day fell on my birthday, so I'm like that kid who his birthday is on Christmas.
I thought that was really I thought that was like
but
I thought that was golden
oh, but no, but I'm not. Oh,
because
I no, it's not. It's not because it's too. I should
yeah,
have.
but you got gifts. We got you Father's
You
Day
did.
gifts
You
and we
did.
got you birthday gifts and
You
we got
did.
you we tried to make sure that we were thoughtful and that we made you feel
Mm.
valued and important and we spent a lot of time and energy and effort to make your day special. So I hope you felt it
I appreciate that too.
from us
Yeah,
and appreciate it.
that's a good thing that you do. I think that's something that young women can learn from. I think that if you have a man, like most families in America are blended families. Like I know, you have guys that talk crap about being, like I won't be no stepdaddy, but usually it's guys that are younger. They just haven't really, lived life yet, and a lot of families are blended families, and I think showing respect to that man that's coming into the household is extremely important. I
We were
know.
all excited. We really were in their own little special way.
Yeah,
We were all really
like
excited.
yeah, like I don't think I would ever want to be in a household where I wasn't respected. Like it's like why would you do that? You
Well,
know.
we do have two teenagers in the house.
Well,
So we got
teenagers
teenage ish.
by definition are antisocial. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
We do
Okay.
have just normal stuff, but
So let
I'm
me read the
hoping that.
next
Okay,
question.
what's
Let's
the next
shift gears.
question?
This is from Deshaun Farad. Deshaun is a great journalist. He's a great guy. He
You know
said,
him?
"Oh yeah, Deshaun's my homeboy. I've known him for about probably over a decade, like way
Oh.
back in my AOL Black Voices days. Deshaun's been a
Oh,
ride.
well, I bet he has a good question.
He's
We
a
want a
rider. Well,
solid
he says,
question.
do you consider yourself to be Dr. Claude Anderson's ideological successor?" And I don't consider myself to be his successor because I don't feel I have the right to label myself in that way. But Dr. Anderson feels that I am. He's mentioned that on the podcast a few times, and that's an honor I accept very humbly. Because I think that we are a great team, and we want to be part of Team Black People. So. Y'all know Dr. Anderson's like a second father for me. I love that man very much. And you met
Yes,
his
hold
wife.
on.
Y'all
Yeah.
got your PhD. Y'all both got your PhD at the same school. You and his wife, right?
Okay, so I just want to say we spent How many hours did we spend with Claude Anderson and his wife?
Oh, we were with them for hours and
We
hours.
spent like an entire day with them, and
Yes.
I look up to them. I don't know if we'll be identical to them, but I would like to be something like them.
Hmm.
They are. It was she modeled for me like such greatness,
His
and
wife is
just
very graceful, isn't she?
she's very graceful. She's beautiful lady.
Yes, she
She's
is.
super intelligent, and we were just kind of talking, and she mentioned she lived in Tallahassee, and I said, "Huh?" I remember going. I said, "Oh, I lived there for a while," and to find out we got our PhDs from the same university,
That's
I was like,
insane.
"Wow, alumni, what's up?" So
Wow.
we really connected, and she's someone I was on the first and only chance I had to talk to her, and they sent us a wedding gift,
Yes, they
which was
did.
really
They
cool. And
did.
so I'd like to hang out with them again.
We will. Now that the pandemic's over, we can go out to the. Yeah, I love. I mean, Dr. Anderson, he is family for me. He's a second father. I got three. I got three bonus dads outside of my main father, which is Well, I have my biological father, Boyce, who I didn't know very well, but then I have my father that raised me, Larry, and then there my three
Who are
fathers.
your three
The three
fathers?
fathers I adopted are Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. George C. Frazier, and
Hmm.
Kenny Gamble out of Philadelphia.
Never met Kenny Gamble.
Yeah,
I never make it to you with you to Philadelphia.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna take you next time, and because Philly, I love Philly, and Kenny Gamble is a great guy and smart and amazing. Like well, he cleaned up like a whole section of Philadelphia.
Kenny
Like,
Gamble
hmm
did.
well, he's Gamble and Huff. They wrote thousands of songs, and they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that. And so, anyway,
Did
they
you get to hang out with him in Philadelphia?
Oh yeah, every
Oh,
time I go to Philly, I feel like I have to go see him because it's like paying. Yeah, I go kiss the pinky ring. Like this man is the Godfather in my view, and a lot of people love him in
so
Philly.
what y'all talk about? I didn't.
We
This is the
talked
first I heard about this.
about black folks and building a community and empire building and educating children and just a lot of great ideas. He was talking about things he's doing in the music industry. And just the racial issues in terms of us being better across the board. And sometimes we just sit and talk. He's just a brilliant man with a lot of wisdom, and I just love him for that.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't realize
yeah,
all of that
yeah.
about Kenny
His son
Gamble.
Khalif was there also, who's a great guy. I respect him immensely.
Khalif.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like these are allies in my view. Like these are people that I like. Black people who get it. I really do. I just like the ones who just understand we gotta fix some of these challenges. And Kenny is the ultimate fixer because this man in the 1960s and 70s, he started making his money from writing songs, and all his friends were buying Cadillacs and fur coats and sports cars. He took his money and said, "I'm gonna buy up my neighborhood." So he started buying dozens of houses in his old neighborhood that while the houses were cheap. So he gentrified a section of Philadelphia, and now those houses that property is worth millions of dollars. He runs entire schools. I think they have 4,500 students.
In a school?
Yeah, universal schools. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
like
my good. Well, if it's somebody that's that important to you, I definitely would like to get to know them.
yeah,
I'd like to at least meet them.
yeah. You should. Kenny is he's powerful, amazing. Okay, next question. Aisha is from England. Oh, remember I told you
You
somebody from.
said
I said
you
somebody from
said
England.
England would
Shout
be
out
in the
to shout
house.
out to everybody from England because I told Alicia. I said, well, we're up in the middle of the night. She said, who's gonna be up at this hour? I said, all my British friends are gonna pop in. All right, so shout out to Black England. Greetings from England. My question is, are you invested in cryptocurrency? And if so, which is the number one coin you've invested in? I'm trying to think what would be my number. The coin I like the most is Ethereum. I'm actually going to take the time to learn the Ethereum programming language because I'm that intrigued with Ethereum and NFTs and everything else coming out the Ethereum network. I don't know which coins made me the most money. If you go to drboycecrypto.com, that's drboycecrypto.com, you can see a screenshot I put together of all the crypto that I own. So just go to drboycecrypto.com. You can enter your email address and you'll get some free stuff from the Black Business School. But then you can also see what I own and stuff like that.
I think
Um,
it's so funny how you got Quincy all into cryptocurrency, and
mm,
and options and stuff. And it's
Yeah,
just
that's so true.
hilarious. It's hilarious because he's trying to figure it all out. He's asking you all these questions. It is so.
Well, now, yeah, he's Quincy's our oldest. He's 18 now, and he's about to start college. And he was that was the hardest nut to crack. He
It's
was
so
he
funny.
well, teenage boys are gonna be protective of their mother. They're like, "Who are you? Why are you
Oh
here?"
wait, no, I'm talking about not the crack in terms of him understanding how
Oh,
to do how
how to do
to
what?
invest in
It
options
wasn't. It
and
wasn't crypto. It was
cryptocurrency.
options. Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
so
But
funny.
but he's well. He's a deep thinker, right? And he's trying to really understand it from a fundamental level. So people like that, I think, they take time to get it, but when they get it, they really have it.
Oh my goodness, it drove me
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. But that stuff's important. That stuff. If I knew that stuff at 18, I never would have had a job ever in my life.
Well, you
Uh,
were very patient. I will say that.
yeah. Well, that's what you have to be. Martell says, "Do you have a computer server that operates 24/7? Because I see your platforms with different subjects on all types of hours." No, no server. Just I'm just good with technology, I guess. Not I wouldn't say good, but I know my way around it. So I can go live on multiple platforms at one time. And it's just a way to kind of hit a lot of different spaces. And also, it's just generally good to have several different platforms because if something can go wrong and somebody could shut down one of your platforms, so you got to have backups. Lavinia says, Dr. Boyce, what is a quick startup business I can do from home? A quick startup business you can do from home. Let me think. What would I do from home if I wanted a quick startup business? I would probably, I don't know. I mean, I know there are people that I think, I mean, selling things digitally is kind of the way to go. We had that student that was in the Black Business School, your friend, that started her
Who?
CMOS business because she knew she was making that CMOS, Susan.
Yeah, I mean that's her passion because she had some health issues and she found a product that worked for her and helped her health wise, and she wanted to show that. The question in and of itself, like my question back to the person is like, what is it you want to do? It's
Right.
like a quick startup business. I
That's
think
kind
it's
of a,
more. It's like it's more like what do you got to be able. I think it just takes scan your life, scan your life, and say, okay, you know what? These, I don't know, this method, this technique, this way of doing things, this has been such a value to me. I think a great way to like share a story that's related to yourself, that's beneficial and helpful to yourself, because you have to be married to this business, so you might as well do something that you feel passionate about
mm-hmm.
and not look at it in terms of, I'm just going to do this because I want to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't,
Focus
yeah,
on, I want to make society better. I want to offer this service because I have a passion for XYZ, whatever that is for you, right?
yeah. I agree. I don't work on the biz. I don't work on any business that I'm not interested in because I'm not going to be very good at it. I will
Right.
if I'm not interested in it, I'll invest in it, but I won't do the. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to spend my time doing something that I don't enjoy. Right?
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, and it really, if you just want to make the money, I think people should really think about stock ownership, just buying stock on your app, because then you can make money from these businesses without actually having to do the work. And that's what when I was explaining to Nicole about how to invest, and we were in line at Starbucks, and I showed her how we can own a piece of Starbucks in 3 minutes, and so everybody, if you have an income, if you have a job with an income, investing a percentage of that income consistently in stocks allows you to own different businesses without actually having to do the work and taking the risk. And you can, unlike a regular business, if you're an entrepreneur, you can't really typically sell that business very easily. It's very hard to sell a business and get all your money out. So you might have put hundreds of thousands of dollars in that business over an 8-year period, but you can't go sell the business on the open market and get the money back. Whereas if you own stock, you can go sell it right away. If I put $20,000 into GE stock over the last several years, I can go and get all my money back. Plus all the gains that I've made during that
Yeah, I
time.
mean, it's diversification. Of course, you always want to have some stock. Like having stock is great. Like, I focus on it once a month. I'm not going to focus on it every day because I'm diversifying my efforts.
Yeah.
My energy and efforts is diverse. Yeah, stocks are wonderful. We know about stocks, but what else is there?
Yeah, there's
What else is
real
there for
estate and
you?
entrepreneurship. Those are
Real
the
estate is wonderful. I
hmm
love real estate. Real estate's my favorite.
yeah, yeah.
There's value in all of it, but I like the real estate. It's fun. It's exciting. Okay, what else? It's
hmm
spreading it out there, and it really has to be tied to what floats your boat, what gets you
Yeah,
going.
that is so true. It is personal. Now,
Hmm.
St. William says, "Hey doctors, I married a woman with 4 kids. None of them are mine, and she was married before. Does that make me a simp?" What do you say to that?
I mean, if there's love in that household, then that's the key. If there's love in that household, is what's going to help. I mean, I think it's so much better for children to see an example of two people together honoring and respecting each other and being dedicated to each other.
Well, I think he's
That
asking.
goes above and beyond anything.
Well, I think he's asking the simp question
I know
because
he's asking the same question.
yeah,
I'm answering it the way I
yeah. I get
I
that
know
right.
he's
So
answering
as
it.
a man,
That's what you
let me get
focus on.
let me get yeah, let me give you the masculine answer. Like guys who even think something that ridiculous. First of all, they don't care about the black community because there's a lot of kids that need a father. And if you say you're not worthy of me because your own father isn't there for whatever reason, that right there makes me question whether or not you're even committed to the community. And I'm not saying everybody should rush out to go marry somebody with kids. I'm just saying that I always honored men who had enough love in their heart to say, okay, this child needs a dad. I want to be this child's dad, or whatever, right? And so I think that whole sim conversation is a little bit disappointing. But I think it might just be immaturity. It's maybe young guys that some of them, many of them, maybe never had a father. They never thought, well, why would a man who didn't have to take care of me actually do it?
Immaturity. Yeah, and it's so funny. I think like when you're in your 20s, you say, "Oh, I ain't gonna marry nobody who have kids already." It's so funny because like you talk about eat your words. Whenever you say you never gonna do something, you gonna fall in love with a beautiful woman, and she's gonna be all that for you, and you gonna be running up behind her and her daughter. You know what I mean? It's just so great because it just that's what's going to happen to you because whenever you say I'm not going to do something, life will put you in a position where that's exactly what you're going to do.
Mm,
It's so funny. That's who you're going to be, and you're not even going to really care. Being with someone with children is not the ideal. Let's just face it, it's not always the best because you got baby mama drama, you got baby daddy drama. It comes with extra layers. So let's acknowledge the fact that blended families, they do have challenges that other families don't have.
mhm.
And it is something that you have to manage and stay on top of. But at the end of it, it can be such a beautiful arrangement. um so I don't know. Let's acknowledge the fact that it is challenging.
It
you
is definitely
know
challenging.
let's not say that it's a piece of cake. It's not. First of all, just being in a relationship with someone and figuring it all out is not always a piece of cake. But
Well, if you were,
just in general.
if you recall, like before I got with you, I dated a younger woman who was like 15 years younger than me, who had no kids, but I chose to marry you, right? And I think that's important for women, for people to understand that it's okay to say, I would prefer to maybe be in a situation where there were not these additional complications. But to say that somebody should be written off because they have children, I just think that's false. I think a kick ass woman or a kick ass man that's got kids can beat out a person that has no children. Because my relationship, I don't talk to people about my previous relationship because she wasn't the one, right? She wasn't a bad person, but she wasn't the person I wanted to marry. But she had no kids, and I didn't say, well, no, she's got no kids, so this is a better situation. Like, I think that who you choose to be with is a complex decision. You can't
Yeah.
have like these one-dimensional deal breakers, or you're gonna make the wrong choice.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
and I think kids are fun, and also it's really what I like
Kids
about
are fun until they not.
right until
Let's
they're
just
not.
face
But
it.
really, you know what? Our kid, to me, in my mind, our kids are fun every day. Like I feel like it's an honor to be able
They're funny.
to influence them. I think also maybe I guess maybe if I like, for example, if I was struggling financially, maybe kids would be more stressful because that's more mouths to feed and all that. I don't have to worry about that, right? So for me, it's like, this is cool. Like, I don't have to change diapers and start over with a newborn baby.
Here we
The
go
kids
with
are
the
the
diapers
kids are
again.
halfway to 18, right? Our youngest is 10, about to turn 11. So that means, I have a few years, and then we have the empty nest, which means we can then go travel around the world and do all
Well,
that.
we traveling anyway around the world. What you talking
Well,
about?
we do travel a lot already,
Where
yeah.
we at now? We ain't even home.
Yeah, even during the pandemic, we were we traveled more during the pandemic than I think a lot of people even
Yeah,
travel.
but we went on road. Let's just say we were safe and
But we
responsible.
wore
We
our
went on
mask.
road trips, and you had to put your mask on, Boyce, above your nose,
I don't wear it above my nose because I can't breathe.
above your nose.
I don't do that
Just
myself.
because, and it's not because I feel like wearing that mask is really going to help you. It's just I don't want to cause a bunch of stupid chaos.
Well, I don't
You
have a
know.
problem wearing the mask. That part never bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, it's like, I think that what probably got me with the whole, like,
Oh,
I don't like it when people are just getting like one dimensional advice,
oh, it drives me
and it's
crazy.
bad advice, like it's bad information. Like, wait, who told you that just because a man or a woman has kids, that's a bad.
Oh,
And what's the other thing too? They're not
I
in
thought you were talking about the
the
pandemic.
interesting, no, when they talk about the kids thing, they talk about the women, they don't talk about the men, and they don't acknowledge like that there are women that got to deal with a guy that's got two or three babies mamas, and he ain't got no.
Oh, kids be showing up out of the woodwork because
Yeah,
it's like mama's babies, papa's mabies,
oh yeah, yeah.
and dad's be
You
like,
know,
"Who's this
I
child?"
I had a friend who had sex with a lot of girls in college, right? Yeah, probably got diseases, all kinds of stuff. I ain't going, but I ain't judging, whatever.
Kids
And
are showing up.
years later, yeah, years later, within a 3 month period, he had two 25-year-olds that came up and said, "You're my daddy," and his woman had to deal with all that. And I'm like, damn, you must really love this dude because he's bringing a lot of baggage to the table.
Good grief!
So I guess it's like, if you're gonna talk about the challenges of a partner having
Another
kids,
child.
you got to talk about the men and the women. You can't just make it like that it's just the women,
Yeah,
like,
because their
because
money
there's a
is
lot of guys that got kids too.
their resources get drained. It comes out of the that's money coming out of the house. I've
Mm.
heard a lot of women talk about that.
Yeah, I think the general rule is to know that kids cost money, and two ways to go broke is to either a have kids and not have anybody help you with the children. Like, that's why I think I tell the girls like how important it is to try to get with men that are gonna take care of the damn kids. Like, don't mess around with guys that can't do, because you'll be doing it by yourself. Single mothers have the lowest net worth in America. Like, did you know that? Single black mothers. But then also for guys that have kids that are in different households, the child support system will eat through everything you got. And so you're not, so you'll try to move on and be like, oh, I'm gonna get a family now, but you got to pay child support to two or three people. And that's gonna piss off.
That's tough.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just kind of think we got to be honest about that conversation, and people are not being honest. They're just kind of in this whole weird, like, fantasy world, and it's just not true. What religion died and came back? Okay, I don't know what that question is. Let's see here. Somebody said y'all go back to bed.
We need to go back
You
to
go
sleep.
back to bed, buddy. Um,
I'm not sleepy now. I think we had our long little nap. I'm kind
yeah.
of I'm ready to hit the slot machines, boys.
You want to go? Okay. All
I'm
right. So
ready to go. Okay.
we're in Vegas, y'all. So we got.
Oh, that's right. Did you not want to say where we were?
Oh, it's okay.
People are
It's
gonna call you now.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Where? Listen, don't call. Do
Well,
not call B1.
we are on our honeymoon, so
Don't call him.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
busy.
yeah. But listen to this. So Bo gave you a compliment. He says, "Mrs. Boyce, you're Mrs. Boyce,
I like it. I love
is a
it.
very wise woman. She always makes sense. Not to mention gentleness oozes out of her voice. Nice. You do have a nice voice. Very
I
sexy.
like to be called Mrs. Boyce. That's fun.
Mm, I like to call you Dr. Watkins.
Yeah, but I
I,
like Mrs. Boyce.
when they call you Dr. Alicia Watkins, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. By the way,
Who called me that?
everybody,
Oh,
that's your
okay.
name.
Yeah, yeah, it is
That's
my
your
name.
faculty name
I thought
now.
you were like talking about a particular person, but no, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, every word she says is full of humanity. She knows how to validate people. She is genuine. There is no fake in her. Both of you are genuine people. That was a great comment. That might be the best comment.
That's what's yeah.
That's the best comment I've seen in a while. That's wow. Be one to you. How did you both meet? Okay, let's answer that one, and then let's
How did we meet?
yeah.
How
Well,
did we meet, boys?
okay. So I was on the Indiana University campus, and I saw Alicia literally across a crowded room, and I was 22, she was 19, and she was the prettiest girl I ever met. And I went over to talk to her, and I was actually trying to find an excuse to talk to her because I asked her what book she was reading, but I didn't really care. And and she smiled at me, and it made me feel welcome to sit down. So I sat and talked to her, and it turned out her name was Alicia Taylor. So that was like it rhymed with my grandmother's name, which was Felicia Taylor, and she grew up in Louisville, and I grew up in Louisville, and then we just the rest was history. And in my journal that night, I wrote, "Today I met the most beautiful woman in the world." And I meant that, and so if you want to know why we didn't get married like back then or date back then, it was because um, I um, I didn't know what to say. I didn't really know what to like.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
why we didn't
A week
date back
later, you said
then? Let
Yeah, I
me.
know. I just
No, hold
go
on.
ahead.
Let
Go
me
ahead.
tell my story.
Okay.
Okay, why we didn't date back then is because a week later, because I gave you my number, and a
Hmm.
week later you called me, told me you had a girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, you know what
And
that.
so I said, "Oh well, he's not interested in me." So, but I'm
All
gonna.
right.
And I chased you around. We were in Bloomington together, and you left Bloomington and you went somewhere. And no matter where you went, chased you. I chased you around, boys.
Hmm.
I found you, and I stayed in contact with you through the years because you were my favorite friend. I
Yeah.
liked hanging out with you. You were so much fun.
Yeah, and I was okay with being your friend. I think I probably would have wanted to be more, but I have to admit, like I honestly didn't know what
I
to really
got no
say.
signal
Well,
from you.
you just I would see these types of guys that would want to hang around you, and I honestly as a young man, I didn't think I could compete with that. I had to build my confidence in my 20s. You know,
Confidence. You were holding it down. You had.
I had confidence when it came to like intellectual stuff. Like I always knew I was very smart. Or I at that time I had figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no fear of like, you know, things like racism and all that. But as far as like dealing with women, and I think honestly at that time your beauty was like intimidating to me. And so you know, so things happened, and I was okay with being your friend. And then, you know, you got married, and I was supportive, and I was very happy for you and everything, right? And it's like, you know, but later on, you know, things change, and
That's
we didn't plan, you know, but when you were single again, it was kind of like we rekindled our friendship, and it was like, oh, you know, maybe we should explore this. But we both had a nice life like up till that point. Like, you know, I know I experienced things, and I don't even know if I would have been ready to get married in my 20s. I don't even know how I would have figured that out in my 30s, maybe, but even
it's
then
interesting.
I was working so much, so I
I think
don't.
it would be interesting if we dated back then. What would have happened? Would have been would have been like what would have been like? That
Well,
would have been
I would have
interesting.
definitely been head over heels in love with you. Like I know that for sure.
Oh, we would
Um,
just be one of those.
yeah,
My
but
mom would be all concerned. Who's
yeah,
Alicia and this man?
yeah.
Because you were a graduate student and you were a graduate student at 22, 23.
I was 22 at the time
You
I
were
met you.
22
Mhm.
and I was 19. So that's not that big of an age difference.
No, it's not. Mm-mm. No, yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I thought you. I always
Oh,
thought
we
you were
would have
hot.
been so into each other. We would
Yeah.
have been all. It would have been. It would have been really funny.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't find out till years later that you would have dated me if I'd asked you. I just didn't ask you. So that's
Well, I never really thought about it because again, I got you told me about the girlfriend, and then
well,
that didn't work.
you had all these dudes chasing you. Like
I had no
I
boyfriend.
didn't want to
Hold on a
compete.
second.
That you had Alan Henderson, the guy who played in the NBA,
Alan Henderson is
would
married.
followed you around. Give me a break.
First of all,
I'm hanging up on
hold
you.
on a second.
Uh huh.
I had no boyfriend in college. When we met, I was a sophomore. I had no boyfriend my entire sophomore year.
And I did not know.
Did I ever call
I
you
would
and
just
say
see.
I have a
I did.
boyfriend? No, I never
I
said
saw a
that.
lot of guys chasing you down.
Nobody was chasing me down.
You just are the biggest lie, lady. I'm hang up on your lies. Okay, Luke Mon made a donation, so I need to read that comment.
Okay,
Thank you, Luke Mon. Listener for 2 years. Love your work. B1 is the Black Business School of real use for someone from London, UK. We actually have a lot of students from London, and actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and talk to some of my London friends about getting like an instructor to teach some classes from a London perspective. The first investment club we ever formed was actually with our London students.
are
Remember?
they still meeting?
Yeah, remember the Black London Asset Acquisition Council?
Yes, I do
I
remember
came up with
that.
that name on my own, BLAAC. I came up with that, and they took it and they ran with it. Next thing you know, they were all over WhatsApp meeting and talking.
The one thing that was great about that London group, I felt that your presentation, like I felt that the entire night was a breath of fresh air for them. It was almost like they stopped everything. Maybe they had work to do and everything, and they came to your event, and nobody wanted to leave. Remember?
Hmm.
Like we shut that place down and everyone still was hanging around talking. That's how I knew it was something really special
Oh,
for
London
them.
was great. I
And
love
it
London.
made me feel as if there was such disconnect between the people, among the people in London, where they just felt really empowered by all being together, like minds together in that room.
Hmm.
I felt that they just it's nice to hear that they're still connecting and communicating with each other. And remember, Taylor kept walking around interviewing people.
Yeah, well, Taylor does it every time we go to an event.
It's really cute.
Yeah, it's kind of great because she's gonna be a superstar. She's gonna be a superstar.
Okay, you're reading the
So let's
chat.
see.
What else is?
Hmm. So let's see. Lucky says she had no problem kicking you to the side when she was younger. How can you read a simp? So first of all, Lucky's got a
Wait, he didn't.
Lucky.
He didn't
Well,
listen to
Lucky.
our
Well, look
conversation.
at Lucky's little icon. It's a guy holding a liquor bottle.
Oh, he's drunk. He's up in the middle of the night because
he,
he's
he,
got a hangover.
he over here drinking,
You know what? Let me tell you, haven't I?
drunk tweeting,
You know what? He's drunk and he's tweeting. Wait, is it tweeting? I don't know what it is. Anyway,
drunk
he's
texting.
drunk and he's on his phone and he clearly didn't listen to anything that we said earlier.
Yeah,
And he is probably, you know what? Being hungover ain't no joke. You gotta drink a lot of water.
yeah.
What did they say? Is it carbs or is it protein? Maybe he should get like bacon and eggs or something.
Well, I think that yeah, I think that that's kind of funny. I mean, yeah, the people that don't listen shouldn't be on this
He didn't
channel.
hear
Like,
a
if you're
comment.
not capable of processing information, this is not the place for you. So,
Boys, I really think I love our story. I would love a movie. Anybody can write a
mm,
script.
we should do a movie.
I think a great movie of our
Well, I
story
know
is
people to
so
make
great.
movies, so we could do the Boyce and Alicia story. That would be
You
like,
know who I think could do it?
oh,
That guy Mathis.
mm,
Maybe he could do it.
hmm.
He likes our story. What's
So
his
let's see
name?
here.
I don't know his name.
Oh,
I don't know
Emmanuel
his first
Burton
name.
said, "Did Boyce say the South is scared of white people? Did you forget that Southern states account for the most slave rebellions in U.S. history?"
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
Well, no, but the most of the slaves were in the South. Like the North, that's what the Civil War was partly about. The people you didn't have a lot. You didn't have slaves in Minnesota.
You know, let
I
me
mean, you
just
might have had a couple, but it wasn't. Minnesota was not Texas
yeah,
and Alabama.
I do want to say something about that because I was born in the South and I lived there for a while. So I really do it's a different type of rebellion. But it is, I would have to agree, there is a rebellion. They know
Well, the
what's going
problem.
on.
Well, the thing
It just
was,
looks different.
most slave rebellions failed because one of the slaves like would snitch on the rebellion. So there were
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of slave revolts. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about it,
Mm-hmm.
but they failed because you always had black people that wanted to destroy each other. So that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of energy you see. You still see that on the internet. You see people that take pleasure in destroying other black people. They have nothing to say about
Mm-hmm.
white people. No smoke for white folks. But they see something positive in black, they go out of their way to discredit it, to attack it, to undermine it. So people with that energy, that's a reflection of that same mentality. So see, Politicking Live says, yes, he's playing games. He won't answer real questions. Notice how he only answers stupid questions. Well, your question was a stupid question
Wait,
because,
where's his question?
right, he didn't even ask a question. Like I'm not gonna ask a question, but I'm gonna complain because you're not answering questions. But I have no question.
What
Okay.
question?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the title of the? What the title did you put in?
I said we're answering questions or something.
Okay, give me some
So
questions.
Giyuk says, do you think the government will rebuild or fund Black Wall Street as an alternative or a stepping stone to reparations?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that
I
they
love
should
that.
and they will, or I hope that they will. If I told Black people what I would like to have in exchange for my vote, I'm not voting for Democrats or Republicans until they do something like this. If they you give me like a multi-trillion-dollar plan where Black business owners can get access to capital with no strings attached. No agenda, no social, nothing. Just give us the money, let us build companies. And I know with the Black Business School, just with the Black Business School alone, along with all the other people that are training Black people in economics, we can train our own people. We don't need white people to educate us. Like I think we have enough experts in our community that we can,
Educate us on what?
just with our economics, starting businesses, things like that.
Awesome.
Like
Okay.
yeah, like we would have that covered. So I would love that. Like if I had an extra say $200 or $300 for the Black Business School, I could put branches all throughout the United States in every city in America and operate. We could do it on a shoestring budget and get it done. But you can't get access to the money that you need. And white people don't write us any checks. Corporations don't give us any money. We don't get any money from the government. And then so the Black people that do support us, it's always an interesting challenge because there are Black people that want to destroy us, and we're like, why? Well, because you're fraudulent. Why? Well, because you're taking money from the community. Well, why? Where's your evidence of that? There's no evidence. They just say that because they're accustomed to destroying anything that's positive and Black, and people like that. So it's like you're fighting a battle on all fronts. So it requires like the B1
So
approach.
you're like the rebellion. You're like a slave rebellion, and it's always someone trying to bring it down, bring down the rebellion.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to succeed, but it's kind of like I'm not even really talking to people like that
Mm-hmm.
because people that hate you are just going to hate you no matter what. But it's really the people that kind of believe and agree that what we're trying to do something positive, who can say, okay, you know what? I give money to white people all the time. I'll give some money to the Black business. Like there are Black business, there are literally people who will criticize a Black business owner because they charge a price for a product. They'll be like, you're stealing from Black people because you charge money. How the fuck is a business supposed to grow if you're not charging money?
I think it's like so great because even like I talk to my friends and they're like, oh, I'm really interested in CMOS. I really have this talent and I really want to start a business. And I'm like, oh, I can help you do that. And then I put them into the Black Business School and look at them now
Oh yeah, well the sister
making
that came in,
money.
yeah, there are plenty of people. So many examples of people that
I
joined the
love
Black
it.
Business School that are making more money now. Like we've got the results. You got thousands and thousands of people that have benefited, and I'm not speaking about everybody in terms of that mentality. It's more so just sort of referencing like what the battle is, the uphill
Mm-hmm.
battle of people that will say nothing about white businesses, but have everything in the world to say about Black businesses. I think that's unfair. That's racist. You're dealing with racism from white people, but then you're also dealing with racism from Black people.
Well, I don't hear that. I mean, I'm sure it's out there, but I'm not going to pay attention to that because you know why I can't pay attention to it? Because I'm paying attention to all of the families I'm helping. You know what I mean? I don't pay attention to people who
Mm,
criticize because I don't there's no time in my day to pay attention to it because I'm so busy trying to get my calendar together, trying to run my business as smooth as possible, taking advantage of all the things you offer in your Black Business School cuz I'm a member too. I'm learning how to do my coaching business and I'm so busy paying attention to that, I don't have time to sit and listen to anybody that has to criticize it.
that is so true. That's a good point.
Too busy.
Well, I think it's important. I like to highlight it just so that people who get what we're saying understand the nature of the battle so that we can really pull ourselves together and do what we got to do to
Okay.
like you got to know you're running against the wind. The wind isn't going to stop you, but you just acknowledge it so that you can battle against that, right? So let me read some more questions.
Okay.
Let's see here. A couple more. Can you turn the comments back on? The brown hype is over. On Dr. Boyce TV, my team has asked me to leave the comments off for a little bit. You can make live comments, but not comments that after the fact. Because just so to be honest with you, on drboycetv.com, anybody that was trolling due to ridiculous misinformation, again, I offered when we talked about that guy, which I'm not really gonna talk about it. I offered him. I said, "Well, why don't you bring me on the channel if you have all these things that you want to say about me that are not true? Then let's talk about it publicly, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
answer every single question you have." He's scared to do that. He won't do that, right? So it's like if you don't
Mm-hmm.
want the truth, then that means you're lying. You're lying. You're going out of your way to tell lies, and that's something we're just not going to tolerate. So when people come over with stuff that's just not true, and you're not allowing me to come in and say, okay, that's actually not factual, then you're doing the same thing white people do. They falsely accuse black men all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So people that
Mm-hmm.
have that mentality, I don't want them on my platform. I literally uninvite them.
We don't have time for that. We
Right.
too busy.
Right. Seriously. Like if you're gonna run around
Yeah.
with somebody's rumors and nonsense, then just do that. Just go somewhere else and do that. Let's see. Quan the God says, "Good morning, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia. Boyce, can you provide a little information on Virgin Galactic?" Yeah, Virgin Galactic is a SPAC, Special Purpose Acquisition Company. Sir Richard Branson is the CEO of Virgin Galactic, and their stock just shot through the roof because they just got approval from the FAA to take passengers into outer space. That's a big deal, and we made a lot of money on Virgin Galactic. Did you know that we own Virgin Galactic stock?
Yeah, you've been talking about it every day.
Yeah, we
For
made
several days. I've
it,
been hearing about
yeah, we
this.
made a lot of money on that. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle Mosley's from Louisville, by the way. She said, "Hey
What's
y'all, I'm
up?
from Louisville. How you doing,
That's
Michelle?"
a homegirl. That's
Yeah,
our homegirl.
Miss Mosley, Miss
Yep.
Mosley. All right, love you, sister. Moose, Florida. Question: How come black people are stuck at 13% of the population? Actually, that number is dropping because they're allowing so many people in from other countries. So I'm not telling you what your opinion should be about things like immigration, but there are people who do believe that immigration um, is being used to dilute the black vote, and that we're supporting that because we somehow are just we just kind of do whatever people tell us to do on TV. Gyuku says, same here. It's monotonous and insanity to vote for the same party. I agree. I don't believe in committing until you give me what I want. If you can't give us what we want, then we don't commit. You never pre-commit. That's the number one rule of negotiation. If you and your wife really in Vegas, me and my wife would love to meet up with you. Well, we would. Thank you for the offer, my friend, but we are on our honeymoon, so we're gonna spend some alone time. But one day I will come back to Vegas and I will do an event, and I would love to meet you in person. How the hell are we gonna talk about building a black family, black wealth, and y'all trolls are hating on black love? Well, exactly. Well, that's the thing. A lot of trolls, unfortunately, are either immature people who just don't understand yet, or they are just really self-hating people, or maybe they're not even real. Maybe they're really racist people that are pretending to be black, because the internet, there are false flag operations all over the internet. There are misinformation
You
campaigns.
know, that makes perfect sense to me, what you just brought up, because I can't imagine somebody actually having time in their long lost days to actually troll people unless they're actually getting paid for it.
That's
Like,
really true.
it just makes no sense. I don't know a single soul, even hate the most hateful people I know. They don't have time to sit and troll all day. Like, I'm too busy to even look at it. I don't even have time to look at it. But if I glance at it once, it's like, good grief, this one person made comments all day long. Like, what do you do with your day? It doesn't make
You
any
know what? I
sense.
have a theory.
What's your theory? I want to hear it.
Well, you're a therapist, and you told me about how social media is linked to depression. How there are a lot of depressed people who use a lot of social media, like those little dopamine injections, kind of numb the pain from their depression, perhaps, or maybe the dopamine enhances the depression because you get high, and then you go down, right? And I think that that misery can come out through the comments. Like I'm gonna sit on social media all day, and if I see anyone who looks like they're happy, my job, my goal is to say something nasty because I'm deep down, I'm like really sad and miserable, and I just sit on social media all day because I don't have much of a life.
Yeah. Well, actual human interaction, there's no substitute for it. Just being physically present with someone. There's no substitute for that. And you do worry about people who look at anything that's positive, anything that's happy, they look at it and they get irritated by it. It tells you about their own negativity. So negativity is out there. And I think that while the rest of the world is living their life and doing fun stuff, there's another piece of the world where they're not able to do that for whatever reason. And they're just miserable and they're not with people and they're probably very lonely. And I think that during this pandemic, I think it's taking a turn for the worse, and I really hope that people can get more connected with each other and start to feel positive
Mm.
about each other. But even your haters, you got to learn to forgive your haters.
Yeah, they're
You
definitely
got to
forgiving.
learn how to forgive.
Well, speaking of that, let's see. Nasir is asking a good point, and I like the way
What?
he asked this question. He asked it in a respectful way, so I'll answer it because I appreciate I appreciate respectful questions. If you're disrespectful, I ain't got time for that. He says, "Are you aware of JT the Pocket Watcher and his professional critique of your content? No hate. I don't know who he is, but I would encourage and challenge anyone, to
The
understand."
the pocket
I
watcher?
know, right?
What is
Like I'm
that?
a professional pocket watcher. Well, you gotta watch your own
What
pockets
does that
first.
mean?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm a professional pocket watcher. Well, that's the thing, right? Like what I've noticed is that I guess this happens to a lot of people, but there's become like people that build their whole channel by doing content about me. I did not know that my name would draw so many views.
Look at you,
So on one hand, I'm
boys.
happy for the guys because it's like if you're trying to figure out a way to make money, that's what you do. You put somebody's name in the title so you can get more views, and when you get more views, you make more money. I'm glad for them, but the thing I wish these guys would understood is like I don't hate you. Like I don't want to see you fail. Like if you reached out and said, "Hey, will you support my channel?" I would support them. Or like I
You're
think.
not gonna support pocket watcher though.
Well, you know what I would do? I would engage him. Like
Really? You would engage
if
them?
he was doing content like stuff that was really getting like a lot of people were
If it
watching
was
it,
constructive.
right, if he had if a lot of people were watching and he did a critique and he said 50,000 people saw this video and I here's how I felt about XYZ. I want to ask you about this in person. And I'd be like, sure, because you probably get 100,000 views. If I came in and it would legitimize your channel, it allows us to engage. All I want is something productive and constructive. If your goal is just to say, I'm gonna make myself better by tearing a black man down, well, that's not the energy I can identify with because that doesn't benefit anybody, right?
The
Um, you
thing
know,
is, well, I mean, it's
we,
always important to deconstruct things, but what are you doing? What are you doing? Where's the alternative? Okay, if this isn't working, what's working? Give me something else in.
that's
What
the other
else
thing
is
too.
there?
Well, that's true too. It's easier to criticize what someone else is doing.
Give an
Like
alternative. What's the answer?
like I've employed a lot of black people, right? And one thing I can definitely say, if they were to critique me, I could critique their critique by saying, you're not employing anybody. You've never known what it's like to actually have black people on your payroll. You're a guy on YouTube who's criticizing a man who's trying to do, what I call grown man stuff. Like I'm really hiring, like there are people that pay their bills every month because I do certain things for them. I'm making sure they have jobs and stuff like
Well,
that.
they work. They got to work for you and bring value to the
Right.
company
Everybody
too.
in my company brings value to me.
Yeah.
Everybody, right?
So it's
So
not like you paying people's bills. It's like
absolutely.
they're doing a
Right.
job.
Absolutely. But the ability to provide
Yeah.
jobs is literally, I think, the number one thing black people have to learn how to do. So it's almost like when Michael Jordan, when they said to Michael, they said, everybody says you're a jerk. Everybody says you're mean. Everybody says you're abusive. Michael Jordan was like, not that I defend Jordan in every category, but I understood this. He said, because these people have never won anything before. They don't know what it takes to win a championship.
Yeah.
And so I would just say, when people say that, I say, well, you probably haven't won anything before, because most people that are winning championships are not criticizing how another man wins championships. They're not. They're people that are really like employing black people. They're not sitting around complaining about another black business because they're busy running their own black owned business, right? So that's what I would challenge these guys to do, is to say, okay, I'll engage you. Like I don't mind you growing your YouTube channel. If you use my name, that's okay. My ego's not in it. You could talk crazy about me if you want to. But I would say, if where's the ability to at least have, what makes you different from the white people that want to attack black businesses? Like, because white people did the same thing to me with Lizzo. They heard my comment about Lizzo and the promotion of obesity as body positivity, even though black people are dying from obesity. And I simply said, if black lives really matter to y'all white people who are paying Lizzo, then you wouldn't you wouldn't be promoting something that's deliberately killing black people. So the white media took this narrative of black man attacks black woman. He's attacking Lizzo because black men are toxic and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I'm not attacking Lizzo. I'm attacking Apple Music. I'm attacking Spotify. I'm attacking Warner and all these music companies that pay money to promote genocide to a beat. And but the white media didn't want to hear that. They didn't. None of them even asked me to explain what I said. They just took the narrative they wanted and ran with it. Well, there are black people who do the same thing. They will take a narrative and just run with it. And then when you say, well, actually, there's another point of view here. Here's what's really going on with that. They're like, I don't want to hear that because you're giving me the truth, which is in contrast to whatever lie I've become addicted to. And
Well,
I
you know, you're
and
not going to convince everybody, and
that's true. That's a good point.
some people just aren't open for, just aren't open at all. What other question is in
Okay.
there?
All right, two more questions.
Oh.
Somebody said facts. I read a story about a white professor who pretended to be a black woman, and he would go into black spaces online to troll. It's shameful. Yeah, yeah. Some of the trolls are probably not real people, to be honest with you. Emmanuel Burton says, Dr. Watkins, did you say African American slaves were only in the South? Also, can you elaborate on your comment about Southern blacks needing permission from white people? I will just tell you the truth, Emmanuel. In my experience, I've gone all over the country. I've gone to probably 200 cities or something, and around the world. And there's a different energy for different parts of the country, and in some parts of the South, excluding maybe Houston, you sometimes will see, like if you go to Birmingham, you see a type of conservatism where the people there are very nice. Don't get me wrong, very wonderful people. No hospitality better than what you get in the South, but the ability to really stand up to racism, it's just not there in the South like it is in the North, and that comes from slavery. So, did I say the slaves are only in the South? No, I didn't say they're only in the South. They're actually there were a lot of slaves in New York and other places, but the South was known for slavery. Like that's how they built their industry. That's how America built its wealth, is through slavery, which was mostly taking place in the South. Based on what I know now, if the North had 10 million slaves that I didn't know about, feel free to enlighten me. But basically the cotton industry and everything else that built the wealth of the South came from slave labor, and that's why they owe us reparations. Let's see here. Brian Norfleet says, do you think Chinese and black men make a good pair? What, do you have a
Wait,
thought on
what
that?
does that mean?
I don't know. I'm not gonna
I
marry.
have no idea
I
what that
wanted to
means.
marry a black woman. That's all I can say.
Well, they said make a good pair. Is that in terms of what? I don't know. You gotta I do like short, succinct questions, but then I need something. I need a little more
Okay.
information in there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Marcia's asking about she's a black Londoner. I'm currently taking your online stock market course. I just heard you had previously developed a London group. How do I join, please? You know what, Marcia?
See?
I have to ask. I have to. I think in class every Tuesday we meet for class in the Black Stock Market program, and in class, if you bring the question up in class, I can ask anybody in class if they're connected. There's the URL if anybody wants to join. We meet every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I don't have the contact for the people that
There
are
was a
in the
list. I remember a list floating around.
really the
There
Black
actually,
London group.
yes, because remember Nicole was in charge of the list. We had her in charge of the
Oh
freaking
yeah,
list.
the
Remember?
London list. Yep, yep.
So I remember that list going around. You'd have to search for it.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's available. It's around. Maybe somebody on your team can find it.
Mm-hmm. True.
Interesting.
Let's see here. Okay. Well, you know what? I think we should go. We've been on here for a while,
How long
and
have we been on here?
an hour, 1 hour, 27 minutes and 51 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it was great talking to you. Brian clarified his question. He says, I have a Chinese girlfriend that is really good and believes in black issues. Sometimes I feel guilty because I don't have a black girlfriend.
Oh, that's what's
Wow.
up. Stay with the Chinese lady.
I will say, man,
I like it.
I'm not going to, I will say my preference always was, I was only going to allow myself to fall in love with a black woman. But if you already love this woman, man, I mean, I don't believe in telling you. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to drop your girlfriend if she loves you, and y'all have a good relationship.
It can work.
Well, here's the other reality that people don't talk about. Um, First of all, statistically, The Economist wrote that there's an imbalance, in terms of black men and black women and all that, and that can cause challenges. And I've seen people. I'm thinking about a couple women I know who really tried hard to meet the right kind of black man, and it didn't work out. Like they just, and some of these guys disappointed me because they didn't really come through in a way that I thought that they should.
Well, I'm sure they have a side to their story too.
They probably do, right?
It's
Right.
two sides to a story.
Yeah, yeah, but I'll just give you a real life example. I know a lady
Hmm.
who had two or three black boyfriends who got her pregnant, and none of these guys took care of the kids. Now, this does not mean this is what black men do, but these were the men that she picked. She picked three men who didn't, you know, who didn't take their responsibility.
So
And
she picked three separate men and had three children with all
yes,
three of them,
hmm,
and none of them came through for
right,
her.
right. And then I know another woman who married a white guy, and he was the nicest guy in the world. I'm not saying white people are better. I'm just saying, like he really admired her. He
Hmm.
married her. He didn't get into know like this whole
Is it the
conversation.
same lady with the three
No, it's a
kids?
different
Oh, it's a
lady.
different lady.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like it was like her friend, her best friend, who said, "You know what? I met a nice guy. He happens to be white,
Uh huh.
and I'm going to." Like he's really like she told me what he's doing, and it was kind of like similar to this brother's question. Like, she said she felt guilty about it,
Okay.
but I couldn't tell her no because I first of all I can shouldn't be telling somebody how to live their life,
Yeah.
but then two, it's like the guy was doing everything he could to show that he was really down for her.
Yeah. I mean, whatever floats your boat. I think and to each its own. You got to make those statements. I just think it would be just difficult for me to be with a white person. It
Yeah.
would just be difficult because culturally it's just way like I could be with like I could be with I could almost be with a Hispanic guy, an Asian like a non any non-white person, just because of their culture and the way they think about things.
Hmm.
It would just be very difficult. But I think like I know people who've married an Asian person and they have just culturally speaking, there's a lot of similarities with us. So it's a little easier. There's just challenges in and of itself when it's mixed race couple.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
just challenges.
Well,
It's
I
just a
well I
challenge. That's
was I
all.
was determined to marry a black woman. I wasn't trying to marry like a woman that wasn't black. I made that decision when I was 16. But
Oh, 16, it came
yeah,
to you?
because my mother told me that she said it's really hard. In her view,
Okay.
she said it's really hard for her friends to find a good black man, and that's what she said, right? And
Uh-huh.
I heard that, and I said, well, when I get married, I make sure I marry a black woman. That at 16, I made that decision, but when somebody, you know, finds somebody that really does right by them, and they're not black, I don't know. I'm not the person that's gonna
Well,
because I'd rather
yeah.
put it this way. I'd rather marry a high quality person who wasn't black than to marry a piece of shit who looked like me. But then the thing is though, you can find somebody better that looks like you, right? Like, so if the black man or black woman you pick is garbage, there are quality black people out here. You just gotta look, right?
Well, if you keep picking garbage, then you got to fix yourself.
Mm,
But that's another topic. I don't want to get into
that's
that
a
topic.
whole deep
It's like
well,
it's
yeah.
not they are not the problem. You're the problem.
That's true. Who you pick is a reflection of you.
It's a reflection of something that's going on with you.
Hmm.
And if you can't get yourself right, you just shouldn't pick anybody until you get yourself right.
That is so true. Yeah, I mean, if you pick crappy people to be in relationships with,
All these people did all this to you. You're a
right,
victim that many times.
right, that
It's
is
like,
so
what
true.
is it that you're not picking up on? What is it that you're putting out there that you're
Hmm.
attracting all these people to you that are treating you this way?
Well, if you look at that's so true. I learned that I could see myself through my relationships with women. I
That's
could
right.
when I looked
Are
at
you leveling up,
when I
Boyce? You leveled up?
yeah, well you're definitely level. I mean, I love you to death, but it's like but it's like when I looked at the women I chose
Uh-huh.
and put it all in a composite, I saw myself. I saw my evolution as a human being. I saw
Yeah.
what my preferences are. Like you could really, if I sat down and talked to somebody for an hour about why I dated each woman that I've dated my whole life, you would understand me very well.
I've listen. I have spent hours and hours listening to you and who you date. And this is when before we started dating.
Yeah, you did.
Listening to you about who you date and why. So yeah, it helped me understand you better. And you have evolved and your choices evolved.
Yeah, true. That's true. Cajun Jim says we sound happy, and he also says whatever you get married to is what kind of kids you're gonna have. Man, that is damn true.
Genetics don't
Oh Lord.
play.
Yeah, if you have a baby with an idiot, your kids gonna be
They
idiots.
really are. It works that way.
That is so true. Oh my God.
They
And
turn into that.
all the idiots are gonna get mad because they're gonna
Well,
get
they're
offended.
idiots. They're not gonna know they're
Yeah, if you
idiots.
get offended, I mean that's true. But then again, though, it's kind
We could be idiots and we could be talking about
of
ourselves because we don't know. We're an
intelligence
idiot.
is genetic, mental health is genetic, all that stuff is genetic.
It is genetic.
Yeah, you gotta be careful who you have kids
I
with.
mean, a lot. It's more genetic than I even want to admit because as a social worker, you look at the person and you look at them in their environment. Um, but we don't want to ignore, the person and what they bring, in their DNA and in their upbringing.
Yeah, it's real sad because what happens is like you just see
You're not
you
determined by your genetics, you want to
right,
say,
right, and you want
but
to
a
help
lot of it is. Mhm.
you want to help people, right? Like you see like a friend or people you know who are struggling, and you really want to help them, and then sometimes you just
You see
realize,
it so clearly.
yeah, and they don't see it.
They don't see it, and you're like, yeah, but you could do it this way, and they just stuck.
Yeah,
And you just like, okay, maybe this person is operating at their capacity.
that's so true. Wow. Cajun Jim says, I love you, boys. You're a great role model because I'm not married, but you give a brother hope. But good, man. Good. Yeah. Keep hope alive, man. And be a good person and always keep leveling up yourself. I'm gonna give my last word and then I'm gonna let the missus give her last word before we go. Kara says, wow, it's 5 a.m. I know we're so crazy. We're up late. Somebody asks, is this live or is this a recording? Now this is live. We're really up late. We just woke up and decided we wanted to answer questions in the middle of the night. But um here's what I would say. Your life is defined by three key areas most of the time, 80% of your life at least: health, wealth, and relationships. So if you want to really make yourself into a great partner and find the best relationship, I think at least this is what I always did, is I would think about how do I level up in terms of health? That means looking better, like by losing weight. Maybe it means mental health, being mentally healthy, learning how to be a good person, learning how to be ambitious. Like women like ambition. Like ladies, confirm that. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree. Okay, St. Williams. You're let me answer that question real quick. St. Williams, you're asking about tour dates. I don't have the tour set up yet. We because I don't know if I'm going to do one this year or not. But if you go to allblackeconomics.com and get on the email list, that's allblackeconomics.com. You can actually get you'll get the tour dates. I'll announce it. I promise you. I promise you. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed to one of the channels. I'll make sure everybody knows. Um, but yeah, so health means physical health. If you look good, you're gonna attract more people. If you're mentally healthy, like there's strategies on how to relate to people better, how to be a better person, how to be a better friend, how to be more helpful to others, things like that. Like I think those things should be incorporated into what you choose to do as a person on a daily basis with your life. A lot of people just wing it. They don't consciously they don't have the intentionality or the consciousness to say, how do I simply, be a better sibling? How do I be a better son? How do I be a better spouse? How do I just be better to people? Because I believe if you're better and you add value, then people are going to want to be around you. People are going to want to be connected to that. People are going to appreciate that. And you're going to be happier. And then wealth. Wealth means, you know, keeping your money, like bringing more money in than you spend, like monitoring your spending habits, finding ways to make more money, investing, leveling up yourself economically. Because I can tell you, just for men, when you're financially secure, women like that. Women like security, but also I think men also like women. They admire women who are able to have their stuff together too. So I think, and then just generally, your life is just better when you have security and stability economically. So the last piece, relationships. How do you relate to other people? How do you decide who to let into your life? Who do you push out of your life? Like I think about that a lot because I deal with people on a personal level that some of whom I pull closer to me, some I distance myself from, some I remove entirely. And then online I have relationships. Like I have relationships with you. So somebody like Marsha Thompson, who's asking if we're coming back to London, the answer is absolutely yes. I like Marsha. Like I like her comments. I like the way she's speaking in a positive way. My brother Cajun Jim. I like having my relationship with you online because you seem like a good dude. People like that bring good energy, I like them around. People that bring bad energy, I either distance myself from them or I block them. Like like people that were trolling earlier, I just block them. Like it's not nothing personal. It's just
Are they
we're
still in there? Are they still
no, no.
trolls?
I mean, no. They just so they got to be careful because you make one crazy, ridiculous comment, you will get banned from that channel for life, right? And it's sad. I hate doing that, but it's because I don't want that energy in my space. Like in this space, I want it to be a positive um experience. I want people here to be able to learn and to grow and to build. I don't want people feeling like, man, we can't build or learn or gain anything because Boyce is responding to crazy people. We're not doing that. So that's it. Like level yourself up. Everybody type level up in the chat. Like level up. I think
Man, shout out to Sierra and wait, what's
level
Russell
up, level
Wilson?
up, level
I love them
up.
as a couple. That family is so great. I do follow them.
Oh no, she leveled up because they got future.
Both of them leveled
Future
up.
is
What are you talking
raggedy.
about? Listen, stop it. Both of them leveled up to each other. I'm defending them because I
That's
really
true.
like them. I like them as a
You
family.
like them
They're
as a
great.
couple.
I do. I love what they represent. Anyway, you were making you go out. I didn't want to jump in your point.
This is so funny. Somebody is asking about Sabir Bay again.
Who's Sabir Bay?
I don't know the brother.
See, look at that name. It's a lot of bays. Oh, I think bays mean you're part of the Moorish
Oh,
group. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, they're saying, why did you say you didn't see Sabir Bay? I don't remember meeting him. I went to the Knowledge Fest. I'm just being honest. Like, I met Styles P, the rapper. I met Red Pill, Blue Pill, who I know you're a big fan of.
Love Red Pill, Blue
I met
Pill.
Brother Ben X. I don't remember meeting Sabir Bay. Maybe,
Wait,
but
is
but
Sabir
he's
Bay
gonna.
offended because you don't remember meeting him?
I don't know because people keep coming to my channel asking about him, and I reached out to somebody, Kari Muhammad in Louisville. I said, "Are people offended? Did I offend Sabir Bay? I didn't mean to, and
See,
so
people who know you know that it's totally
I
possible that you could meet somebody and like forget.
oh I totally do. I
Because
totally
that's how you are,
That's why I
though.
don't have no friends. I'm so inside my own thoughts that I don't have a
It's
lot.
so you boys
Yeah,
to like forget that
like
you met somebody.
I don't run with a crowd. I don't have like a bunch of celebrities that I'm hanging out with all the time. I'm in a constant state of meditation. I'm always trying to understand
I do wish you
life.
had more male friends.
Well, I got my guys that I play Call of Duty with,
No, I'm talking
G
about.
Mac and Big Nard,
Oh
the rapper,
Lord, I'm talking about like you know what I'm talking
Killer
about.
King style. That's my homeboy.
I wish you had more male friends. Like you develop more male friendships.
I do. I do. I mean, I have my guys that I'm connected to around the world, and I see them, and we understand each other. And I'll tell you what, I really became conflicted about certain aspects of black male culture that I do not identify with. There's some things that
Yeah,
are.
but there are a lot of you can connect a lot of the men. There are a lot of good men out there
Mhm.
doing good stuff, progressive, and not about drinking, not about anything negative. That's like you. Like you can. There are a lot of men who are like you that you could foster and develop a relationship with.
Now those
I
are
would love to
and,
see
and, and
that.
those are men that I can identify with for sure.
There's a lot of men out there.
Like I was talking right. Like I agree. Like the brother Kari Muhammad. I sat down and talked to him in Louisville, and it was great because we were talking about grown man shit. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't this silly like screaming and hollering on the internet chatty patty nonsense. It was like, how do we raise our families and
Mm-hmm.
build a strong community? Tommy, my buddy, like I just don't have a lot of time to sit around and do nothing. But Ice Cube. When I talked to Ice Cube, we became friends because Ice Cube is a grown man.
You two related well with each other.
Yeah, we related because like we go back 30 years in terms of just we've seen the same things in life. We didn't become friends till this year,
Are
but
you all the same age?
he's about I think his birthday is 5 days before mine, but
Look at
he's a
that.
year older than me.
Oh.
And it's like I like talking to grown men who understand that we have a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't I can't relate to little boys. very well.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I just think like there's a lot of men with like minds like you that
Mhm.
it would be kind of cool if you had like a
Yeah.
stronger like really like friendships with them. I mean,
Mm.
it's nice to sit around and talk about business and stuff, but it was really nice when you and Ice Cube would just talk about this random stuff, or like you and whoever, would
Mhm.
just talk about things that had nothing to do with business building. It has to do with, hey, did you see the such and such film? Just like casual like male friendships is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
That would
do.
be nice. I would like to see
Well,
that.
I've got thousands of male friends. You know what it is, honestly. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they say it's like lonely, quote unquote, lonely at the top. Not that I'm at the top, but when you have a lot of attention on you, you have to be thoughtful about your circle and your space. Because people try to infiltrate, and sometimes those people are doing you harm.
So
And
there's a trust level. Yeah, I think like there's so many people that you could possibly trust
that's true, and I do, and I trust him, and
who
I do. One
means
day,
well.
I'm gonna take you through my Rolodex and show you how many guy friends I have
No,
that
I know you
where I can
have
sit
like,
down and talk to. Well, I might not see him for 2 3 years, and
but that's the thing, like a regular. I don't know.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I'm
you
not.
know.
I've never been the hang out and just do hang out kind of guy.
I know, I
I admit
know.
to that. But I will say though that there are some areas. There are some areas where when I was 19, I started identifying aspects of what people thought a black man was supposed to do that I thought was stupid.
Okay. Yeah.
When I went to college and I was about to pledge Q, and those guys, were messed up. They were all fucked up. These dudes, not all the Qs are like. I'm not saying
That's
all
what
the.
I'm saying.
I'm just telling. No, but let me
You
tell
can
you.
find your group.
I get that. I get that. I
Uh-huh.
totally get that. Right. And I have. I really intelligent black people. B1 like that. That's my group. Right. But I remember just being like, wait a minute, y'all drink till you become alcoholics, which is bad because you're gonna die and your children won't respect you.
Oh my
You
goodness.
no, but
How did you go there? Like, I don't think all
because
cues.
I have seen guys do
You've
that.
seen
I've seen
individuals.
guys literally take their first drink as a college freshman and they're alcoholics to this day.
Okay,
They're
but there are a lot
45,
of.
50-year-old alcoholics.
Okay, so I had alcohol in college. I'm not an alcoholic. Like, there's
Right.
some people you can still connect
Mhm.
with somebody. It doesn't have to be.
I'm not saying that, right.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying I'm just telling you what my experience was, right?
Okay. Okay.
So the guys I saw, they did not study. And I said, okay, you're going to be stupid and you're going to never get the job you want.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
never going to have opportunities because you're not preparing for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were sleeping with a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, they got diseases out there. And you're going to have babies, mamas. So you're
Mm-hmm.
going to end up broke and you're going to have STDs and bad things going to happen to you. So
Okay.
it doesn't mean everybody
Well,
was
there's.
doing this, but what it
Mm-hmm.
became was this thing that told me that a lot of what we are marketed, what they market to us about what a man is supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
is not healthy.
Well, I hear that. So the point I'm making is that I'm sure for every guy on campus that was doing those things, there's also other guys on campus that were not, that you could connect with. Like, I when I went to college, I hung out with, guess what, a whole bunch of people that was doing a whole bunch of stuff I was doing. Like minds, we all kind of got together. I hung out with a lot of girls whose, guess what, whose parents were school teachers. We all stayed in the same little dorm together, and we were like a good close friendship of people, and we were like minds. We were all doing the same similar things, and we were studying together, and we were doing like great things together. And so there's always going to be that element. There's going to be somebody for everybody. So that's all I was saying. Like, you could find your people. You gotta find your tribe.
Well,
Find your
I
people.
do agree, and I think it's like, but I think being a black woman is different from being a black man. Like black women don't grow up where 80% of your friends want to become NFL players or think they're going to make it to the NBA. Like black women don't grow up where 80% of the girls want to think they want to be rappers, so they don't study because they think they're going to get a record deal, right?
Do you think
And
80%
remember,
of black
yeah,
men
if
want
you,
that?
I spoke
Who
to
are in
no, I
college?
spoke to a group of black boys in a middle school.
Oh, in
And
middle
I
school.
said, how
Okay.
many of you think you're going to be a professional basketball player or football player? 80% of the boys raised their hand. And that's
because they're boys.
but that speaks
But
to
that's what a lot of
what I'm saying. But what I'm
children.
saying though,
Uh
in
huh.
general, we gotta listen, babe, is
Okay.
that there's something fucked up about black male culture that is marketed to black men.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get the immaturity. When you look online, like you see so many guys that just have a completely inaccurate view of what masculinity is. Like, the fact that they're even saying, like, if you date a woman with children, that's a simp.
Mm-hmm.
Those are guys who literally have no
You brought
clue.
that up again.
And
Yeah.
but this comes up, right? Because some athlete will be saying this stupid stuff, and it'll be some guy who, spend his, who just some person who's not real enlightened on what family and community really looks like. And it's like I don't want to deal with all of that. Like, I don't want to deal with you thinking that
But you don't have
that
to.
some rapper
I
is a
was just saying
man when
that you
he's
don't.
not a man. That's why
Mm-hmm.
these rappers die young. These rap DMX included. That's why these guys die young, because they market genocidal behavior to black males.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of any of that.
I get it. But there's a lot of people, because you're woke to that. And I think that there is a lot of other people who are also woke to that. And all I was saying is that you can find them.
Mm-hmm.
Find them and hang out with them and let that go.
I
And let
agree.
the other stuff is
I
always
agree.
going to
So
be
what I'm
there.
gonna do, what I'm gonna do for you is, after we get done talking, I'm gonna go through my Rolodex and I'm gonna count to you
We
300
don't have to.
black males that I know that I'm friends with. I'm just, and also remember, I'm an introvert, and I spend time alone because I like to form my own thoughts. I'm not a hang out and just sit around and do nothing kind of person. I never have been. Just in college, I was like, I want to be the number one student, so I would be in the library by myself grinding. Like, like, if you look at people that are really, good at what they do, like a lot of times Michael Jordan, when he was trying to win championships, he didn't have a lot of friends. He could have had a million friends because he's Michael Jordan, but he was like, no, I'm focused on basketball.
Yeah.
I want to
I
be
mean,
great at what I
I
do.
was just talking about balance. Yeah, time for basketball. It's also time to chill and time to, you know. I okay, so you were making your last words was health, wealth, and relationships. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, somebody asked. They said they had if they asked if you do consultations. So her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. So feel free to go there. Um, Somebody has a Kevin Samuels question. Do you want to answer it? He
Wait, are
says,
we wrapping up or are we not?
"Oh, we can wrap up."
Okay,
It
well,
says,
ask the question.
he says, Kevin Samuels said, being a stepdad is like paying another man's loans. Doesn't sound like that the way you're saying it. Yeah, that's
Paying
it.
another man's
Yeah, stuff
loans.
like that. I just wish.
Kevin Samuel, I don't know. I would love to like talk to him. I would really love to. That's somebody I would love to like talk to and get into his head and try to figure out like where he's coming from, and like try to figure out like what gets him going. Because you introduced me to him, I never even knew who he was. You mentioned him to me, but it'd be really interesting just to hear what he has to say.
Well, what I would like, all I would want is balance, right? So if you believe,
Because I'm real curious
yeah,
about how he came to that conclusion, and I'm real interested in what his own life looks like.
yeah.
I know that I would probably think that he has had some challenges.
Well, I would say that if you believe that being a stepdad is like paying another man's loans, would you say the same thing about a woman being a stepmom? Like, if a guy has 3 kids with 3 women, does that
Or with
mean,
one, with
or yeah, or
whatever.
even one child, right?
Hmm.
Would that
With one woman,
right?
not just
Would
three.
that be the same? Like, would you say the same thing, or does the rule change because you're talking about
Yeah, that's why
men?
I would like to hear, because I would suggest that I get the impression that he probably has some um, deep seated challenges
Yeah, I
in
think
his
so
life,
too.
and I think that his way of dealing with them has been in a way that I don't think is very healthy.
Well, I think that
That's
there,
one thing I would, yeah.
yeah, I think that, like, we as black people, when you get into conversations where you're like into simping versus non-simping, like the opposite, the word that rhymes with simp is pimp. So you have guys that say, I don't want to be a simp, I want to be a pimp. Well, pimps are not good people. Pimps exploit people. Pimps scam people. Pimps hurt people, right? They oppress people, right? So you're saying, I want to be like the white man, I want to be an oppressor, right? Because I don't want to be a simp. And I think that makes me wonder, like, is black love anywhere in your vocabulary? Because when I think about helping children, I'm thinking about love. I'm thinking these are children that didn't choose their circumstances one way or the other. And I love being a stepdad. Like, I think it's great. I love kids. I love helping them. I love being around them. And now, don't get me wrong, your kids would have been fine with or without me. But
Mm-hmm.
I like to believe that I can add value, right? And I enjoy that, right? And it was like a gift to me because the children are beautiful, they're smart, they're part of my legacy. They're, if I do a good job in the family, they are going to teach their children things that I taught them. Like, these are all things that are being missed when all you're thinking about is basic stuff. So I think that when you're talking about dating, you can't just talk about it as a pussy grab, like well, because children are around, that keeps me from being able to get to the pussy more, like that's what it is. It's pleasure seeking behavior. It's like,
Oh, is that what it is?
children are a
I don't.
nuisance
Yeah.
because I can't enjoy having more sex with more women because the kids get in the way and the kids are a burden, and kids are not a burden.
That's a very empty life. That's a very empty life, and I would even venture to say probably not a very satisfying life.
Yeah, it's not. Oh,
Yeah,
wait, well, you know what it is? I think it could be okay, I guess, for a certain stage, but I know that
it's
you,
gonna get
and I
old.
can say this as a guy who, I, just like you, I had options. Like, I could have picked any life I wanted. Any type of woman situation I wanted to be in, I could have had that situation. So, so a lot of the guys that would criticize me for the situation I chose, that their opinion doesn't matter because it's my life. It's like, no, I had more options than you did. Like, I could have, there's a lot of situations I could have put myself into. I chose this one because I like what I see, and I like talking to people that are smart enough to say, maybe there's a reason that this life can be the best choice for me. It doesn't mean I'm telling you to do it. It just means that anybody who's telling you that, like, you should just by definition, by default, reject any scenario where there's a child involved. My God, how can you care about black people if you hate the
So
children?
the thing is that when you're so determined by your okay, so you have this sort of background, so you're not worthy of love. You have this child, and the father's not around. Let's just say we don't know. You're not worthy of love. So what is it? What's the answer? Is the answer to the problem, let's kill all the children? Like, like, what do you want us to do? We're gonna
Let's
like
abandon
we're
all
gonna
those
we're
all
gonna
those little
commit. No,
motherfuckers.
hold on, seriously. In order for me to be worthy of love, I gotta kill, like physically kill. Like, what is the solution? Like,
Oh,
where is
yeah.
it? Like, get rid of them so that I can now be worthy of love. Like, I don't get. It's an impossible situation. It's an impossible scenario that's being painted because there is no there's no answer. There's no okay. It's like, oh, if that's it, if you're defined just because you check this one box and that makes you unworthy of
Wait,
being with, like, what is
Cajun Jim
that?
said he Cajun Jim said he actually said this. What did he say? He said what? Tell me exactly which
Like,
one.
abandon the kids and move on. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
I have
crazy
no
to me.
idea. Like,
Like,
what
so
is
kids who
it?
don't have a father should just be abandoned.
To
I
just
think
be pushed aside. So,
that's so funny to me. Like,
so I
that's
really don't.
crazy. Why would you say that?
I
I
think
hope he didn't say.
I
I'm not gonna put that on him. I'm not
it
gonna put that on Kevin to
sounds
say that he
no, but
said that.
but the thing is to insinuate, to even just go there, to put somebody in an impossible situation just because of your background. To me, that's a mental health problem. Like, that is
Mm.
psychotic.
Well, I kind of
It
think.
really
I think
is.
that
It's absurd.
if you remember that song, I believe the children are our future, right?
Oh, freaking
If you, if you,
listen. And then on the other note, stop putting all our hopes and dreams in these kids.
no, I
Chances
do. No,
are,
no, no, no. That's
you
where.
ain't gonna do
That's where.
nothing but get
No, no, no,
disappointed.
no, no. That's not true.
Let your
I don't know.
children
No, 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 no,
be.
no. I think the children should be allowed to be, but I think that teaching them culture and responsibility
Oh
to
Lord.
protect and preserve,
Yeah.
no, no, no. When my kids, all my children will be millionaires when I die, and I want to make 100% sure that they understand that they're building on something that's meaningful, right? So
Okay,
it
look.
doesn't mean they don't have freedom to be who they want to be. It just means
We
that
put I just
it
think
just no, it just means though that there's a sense of response. Like, I carry my father's legacy. My father and I have talked. My father's not well. We've talked about Dr. Claude Anderson, same thing. We've talked about what it means to carry the torch. And I take that shit very seriously. You know that.
okay. Here's what I'm saying. It's just like I'm trying to get a little more balanced here because we put all of our hopes and dreams in these kids, and most of them are going to disappoint you. I think that the best approach is to just encourage them to just grow and whatever their path is for themselves, just filter them and support them with what they want to do. That's why it's important to raise them. You're right, it is important to raise them with a certain value system, and we know, what did they say, the tree by the fruit that it bears. We know, if you raise a child and you raise them with certain values, we know they're going to leave your house with these certain values. We know that. But let them find their own path. Let them
Now I
find
do
their
agree
own
with that.
way. It's just like we want to, it becomes too much when we want to just like overtake. And I know I can be guilty of this, so I'm talking to myself, but I'm not talking to you.
Mm,
I can be guilty of this, where we try to like, we try to like, children are the future and all of that. But, the only person you really can save at the end of the day, they have to save themselves, to some extent. And I need to be careful not to like helicopter parent my children
mm,
and like reach in. I need to be careful. So that's why I talked to you about, Boyce, what do I do with this situation? Because I don't want to be an enabler. I don't want to enable them. But at the same time, I want natural consequences to happen with them. Like, it's so difficult to draw the line as to where you're rescuing somebody and whether you're trying to empower them. So I always lean on you and for you to help me, just because you're a different person with a different perspective. And you see things different. I'm in it, so I can't see it. I'm clouded
mm,
in my judgment. So that's why I always reach out to you and I ask you, like, what should I do? Especially with Quincy. He's my oldest. I don't know if what I'm doing is effective. I know, maybe I'm doing too much for him sometimes. I don't know where to pull back. I don't know where to push him. It's a very difficult, it's not an easy thing, but I have to realize that he's a separate person than me. He cannot be a miniature Alicia, although
mm,
I would love for him to be. But
mm,
he's got to find his own way. So that's what I'm talking about. I really need your help with that. And I'm glad that you have helped me, you
mm.
know. And it's
Okay.
not financial. It's just I just need help.
Yeah.
I can't do it all on my
Well,
own.
I
And I
don't.
don't pretend that
Well,
I
I think that
can.
you should have both. I'm a believer that the male and the female influence matters, right? And I think you agree with me. And I agree. I agree. I think that my whole theory is that mothers spoil their sons and fathers spoil their daughters, and it's the same
Yeah.
sex. It's the same sex parent that comes along and corrects all that. So, like, if
I
all
know I was
imagine,
totally spoiled by
yeah,
my
yeah,
dad.
like I think that if all girls were raised only by their father, you'd have a lot of spoiled girls out here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and but because they're raised by their mothers, they're very strong and very, like they just come correct because their mama is like straighten that up. Pull your skirt down. Stop doing that. Do your homework. Wash the dishes, girl. I don't
Well,
care.
I do that to
Right, you do.
Quincy too, but
You do that, but it's not the same, and
it isn't the
he doesn't
same.
respond the same because he's a teenage boy, and
That's so true.
he responds differently to men than he does to women, and so
Hmm.
ultimately, a lot of what happens in a lot of families, I think, is because the boy doesn't have a man there every day, kind of in his ass. They get out into the world, they get spoiled, right, and
Hmm.
then
So you
they
can
go into the world. Wait,
you
hold
can
on,
outsource some of that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
even if it's, I mean, there's an uncle or a grandfather, there's always someone there that can kind of like help
yeah.
when it's needed. And the individual will say, God, I was so happy my grandfather was there
Well,
for me and my
right.
grandmother. And if there's, the mom is lacking in some way, but
I think you learn a
and I
lot.
was totally spoiled by
I
my
think that,
dad.
right, and I know that. So the
And
so
you
the
gotta spoil me too.
right, and exactly. But that's one of the things your father left you that I gotta work with. But no,
Yeah.
but no seriousness though, like if a guy is not, I think outsourcing definitely helps. I don't know if it's a full replacement though. Like there's things that
Well, again, you're
like
not
I like I like I
determined.
was around other men, but none of those men had nearly the influence of having a father in the house every morning. Like I
Well, you
would,
didn't
like I
need it.
woke up and I
You
saw my
didn't need
right.
it
I
though.
bumped into my dad in the bathroom every day. I saw him every morning at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I did something wrong that day, he was right there to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
That gave me a different experience than I would have had if I saw my dad every 2 weeks, or if my dad, or if there was a football coach I saw at practice, or if
Mm-hmm.
there was an uncle who came by once a week. You know, it's like a, it's
Or
a,
every day, took you to school
or
every day. The
okay,
thing is that there's a satiation point. I think there's a demarcation where it starts to flesh out and to really be beneficial, because that's how we are as Black people anyway. We kind of like, you takes a village. So it really,
I
we
think it
do
does
take
take a
that.
village, but you also need a father.
Okay, you just cut me off. I was going to say something.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that there can be surrogate fathers, and this, and there can be, because that's what you do. You become surrogate fathers for a lot of people, and it makes an impact. According to you, it makes an impact,
It does make an impact, but
or it does
it's
not.
like a bandage on a wound. And but you
Well, why
really,
can't we
but the
fix the
better,
wound?
right, the better,
Wouldn't it be better
right,
to
right, the
fix them?
right, the better, right, I think the better solution is to not have the wound in the first place. Have people think carefully about who you're fucking, so you don't have babies
Oh
with
my
people.
goodness,
Seriously, so
your
you don't, so you're
language.
not
Okay.
having babies with people that are gonna be terrible parents. Like seriously, this is on the ladies and the men. Like seriously, like you're just thinking about sex as a pleasure seeking behavior. It ain't just about you getting a damn orgasm.
Okay,
Sex
so
is sex is that's
you're
what
being
that
very
is.
graphic in your language, but
I hate I had to lay it out there like that because people don't understand. Part of the reason I understand what's going on with the whole
I don't consider it to be as hopeless as you're making it
I'm
to
not saying
be.
it's hopeless. I'm not saying
It
so.
sounds
I'm saying there's
hopeless.
Black people, we have to
Hmm.
start embracing family again. We don't embrace family. We're like, oh well, single motherhood is just something that's just gonna happen just because. Well, why is it happening? Why are we not digging to the root of the single motherhood epidemic and holding women accountable and men accountable?
Here we go with accountability. Yeah, I think that we need to
Accountability matters though.
yeah, but we also need to be a little more like forgiving and a little more understanding and a little more supportive.
But also accountability means there's a point where you say, I've been as understanding as I can be. Your life is your responsibility. How did you make it this way?
Okay.
So there's like that's where we balance. Like you're a social worker. I'm not a social worker now. I'm a
But
little bit more of a pragmatist.
but I use it in terms of the helping model. And so in order to help somebody, because I think the goal is to help people and assist people.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you don't hold people to a certain standard and then you let the consequences flesh out as it does. But it also means is getting a clear picture of what's happening.
Right.
What's going on, what's happening, that this pattern is showing up, and letting them understand, here are the consequences. It's just like, you do this, here are the consequences to your behavior.
Yeah. Like I don't want to be in a world where everybody just starts thinking that single parenthood is just the norm.
But
That
that's
that's the
not.
way it's supposed to
Hmm.
be. Like I don't think it's supposed to be like that. And I think
Hmm.
that one danger that we have to watch out for, white people do this to us. They really the feminists anyway, seem to
Okay,
have
here
a
we go with this.
I feel
Hmm.
like they have a they tend I feel like there's a message that says that a child that doesn't have a father is just as normal in every way, or
Hmm.
just is going to be just as well off as the child who has the father in the house every day.
Yeah, so
I
that.
don't. No.
Okay.
The reason I think that that's
Hmm.
not true is because you can't say that about the mother. No one will ever say that a child without a mother is going to be the same as a child with a mother. Nobody would ever say that.
Okay.
But for some reason, people think fathers are interchangeable.
Okay. Can I say something,
Yeah.
please? Okay. So I think like just that is a status of single mother is just a status. And I think that if you really look at these families, if you really look at the families, you have a lot of support system. So there, what we're finding is that it could be a long boyfriend who's there, even though they're not married. So I'm saying is that you have to look at the support that this family is receiving, and you also have to look at who else in the picture is a key person in that family. So I think it becomes a conundrum for a lot of researchers who want to research the complexities of Black families. It's very difficult because you can't categorize people by marital status as much, because typically in the Black community, it's not defined by marital status. A lot of things are defined in more alternative ways. That's what we're finding, in an alternative way. So there are people who are coming together in these households who are providing support for them. It could be the grandmas living with them. It could be the uncles staying in the house. It could be multiple people in the household who are extended family, who operate as if they are actual family. So we need to get away from this just label, because once you label it, you lose the nuance and the complexity of how these families are structured and put together, and the amount of love that are in these families have a lot of love in their family. They come together. If someone has an issue, can't a crisis, they come together and they galvanize. So there's a lot of strength in these families that I don't think that's being shown. I think you're just being it's being determined just by this one status, but we need to get away from that.
I don't doubt that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that um that family structure though has to be challenged a little bit in terms of what types of men and what types of women are being produced. I
Yeah,
don't think there's
exactly.
I don't
And
really
we need to
see,
also look
right, I
at.
don't see
Mhm.
big trends in other communities where the men hate the women this much, where or
Mhm.
where, and also
Mhm.
where the women are trained to be that independent, in terms of like, it's gonna be me and my babies, and we don't need a
Mhm.
man or
Yeah,
that.
but that's the narrative. This, I think, is pretty false. Like, I don't. You're not going to really see that. It's going to be okay. It, it's a little different. It's different. It's a little different from that, in the way it's practiced. You
Hmm.
know. So so I think it's important to kind of gather that, because you're painting a picture that may not include all the key aspects of it,
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
of how families operate and function.
Yeah, I think that
Mhm.
I don't disagree that there can be a lot of different ways to structure a family.
Mhm.
I have a lot of issues ideologically with marriage in general. I mean, I did it,
Mhm.
because I chose to submit to that particular structure. But for the most part, um, I never felt like an official marriage or a document or legal contracts were
Exactly.
something that defined relationships. Like I have kids I'd never adopted, but those are my kids.
Mhm.
So I can see that, right? And I think it
Mhm.
also comes down to the content of your character and your commitment to the relationship.
Oh, there
But
are
I
a
but
lot
I
of.
but I do think that our children struggle.
Mhm.
When there's all kinds of studies that show that when the father's not there,
Mhm.
things happen. Bad
Mm-hmm.
things happen to the
Bad things
children,
can happen,
right?
and they can happen. I don't mean it will, but it
No, no, no. The
can,
the the
and
probability goes up.
yeah, it can, and the loss of protection is definitely real. And even like with marriage, there are a lot of people who are married only on paper. They are not married to each other, in the true sense of what marriage is about. And so there are a lot of people who are just there are a lot of fraudulent marriages out there,
I do agree.
who
I
are
agree.
together. Ain't no love going on in
Well,
that thing.
yeah, and
There's a lot of
I think
fraud. Hmm.
that's one area where definitely you and I have a different perspective. Like you feel
What do
like
you mean?
I don't feel like love is always necessary for you to have to pursue your duty.
Oh yeah, I
I don't
agree with
like
that.
I'm
I
just
think I think love is a necessary
mhm.
component, but it's definitely not the only component.
Well,
It's
I
got to
think
be more than just that.
love is great, but I don't do what I do. Like I'm not committed to you just out of love. I'm committed to you because that's my definition of who I am as a man. If I'm not there for my family and there for my woman, to me, that means I'm less of a man. And it ain't about like, do I like Alicia today or do I feel like Alicia loves me? No, this is the commitment I
Right,
made,
commitment. Hmm.
and I am gonna do that. And I admit I get that from my father. My father tells me stories about how my mother was like, I'm gonna leave. He's like, no, you're not. We're not doing this. Like we're not getting a divorce. It's not going to happen. And I told you, if you ever try to divorce me, shit, I'll be living up in the mountains like the Unabomber, and they won't be able to find me to serve me the papers. And then when they do, I won't answer the door. I kid you not. I'm not going to do it.
You
seriously,
are so
because
funny.
because
So
I,
the
I
commitment is there,
I
right?
believe, see, that's the thing. I believe in,
That's commitment.
yeah, I believe that sturdy structures are built by sturdy, determined people. You got to stand on what you believe. Period. You say some shit, you got to follow through with it.
So
You make
if
a
I wanted to divorce you, you would not divorce me.
no, no. I would make it, just so y'all know. I'm gonna say this now publicly, so y'all can come back to this video in case we ever announce in case she tries to announce a divorce.
I try to.
I'm
You're not
not.
gonna let
No,
me.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna make it hard because I told you, like
That
that's
is
what,
so
to
funny.
me, that's what it's that I, and but I get that from my dad. I'll admit, my dad is extreme like that. But my father's devoted, strong commitment, this sort of like I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks kind of mindset, like this is, I'm standing on what I said. That I get that directly from him.
So I can
That's
blame
what,
him when you're being impossible.
yeah,
Sometimes I
yeah.
can be like,
That's what
"Boy,
allowed.
stop being impossible, like you're dead."
Yes, that's what allowed my parents to have 47 years of marriage in a world where people can't stay married for 45 minutes.
So do you think that he held it to, okay, so it, and I want to say, I love your parents and how they are with each other. I think it's just so beautiful, and that is a real marriage. If I would ever look at the only other real marriage I think that I like saw was my grandparents. I
Mm.
mean, my grandparents had it. Like they were just like
Yeah, I like that.
everybody looks up. I mean, they were the king and queen of the entire family. Like everybody, we all love them. So
And I
yeah,
love that. Like I
that's
love, I
yeah.
like that because it resembles a type of mental toughness that people have let go of.
Mm-hmm,
People are
mm-hmm.
all into like, oh, I just didn't feel it. It was hard. It
Oh
got
no,
too.
let's not go there, boys. I think like
I'm not. I'm just not
I
a fan
think
of
that
that.
I don't like the mocking. I don't like how you mock people because I think
Accomplishing
that
your
might
goals
be,
is always going to be hard.
boys, I think I don't want you to go down this path of where you're mocking people because I think like to leave a marriage is very difficult to do, and it's a I don't want you to do that. So I
Mm.
think the thing is that my grandparents, both of them came from broken homes. So my grandmother, her parents, her mom had children um with a man. I think she had children with another man. You know what I mean? So my grandmother came from a blended family, and my grandfather, because he lived in Louisville, that's why I have roots in Louisville. His parents divorced. And so it was really, this is back in the early 1900s, probably, 1920s, probably. And so both of them came from, stepmoms and stepdads, and they were together forever, and so it was nice to see that, so you're not determined by how your parents' status is. You can basically make it better, don't you think, Boyce?
Yeah. I think that I'm a believer in consciousness. I'm part of the conscious community,
Are you?
and yes, and what that means to
What you
me
conscious
is
of?
consciousness means um being alert and intentional about all the things that matter to you in this world. So, like, parental consciousness means being alert and intentional about what you say to your child, how you engage with your child, watching videos, reading books about how to be a better parent, like learning the skills that you need. I'm intentional and deliberate and very conscious about all the things that matter. I'm conscious about wealth and money. A lot of people can't make money because they don't know where their money went because they're not conscious of what's going on with their finances. Self awareness. I'm conscious and intentional about our marriage, meaning that I see it as something I have to study. Like for me to be a good husband, I got to study you. So I study you. I watch you.
Oh, do you? Are you watching me,
Yeah,
Boyce?
I keep patterns.
Do you know what I like?
I know when when your mood gets all funky, and I know when it's good. I notice how you react to almost everything. I study you. I watch videos on how to be a better spouse, how to relate
Do
to
you
your.
really?
Yeah, that's what.
Share some of the videos with me. I want to see what you're
Okay,
saying.
I'll show you what I tell. Yeah, I mean, you know, and
Yeah, I like.
so I like to learn. That's what it is. Like I see, but I'm a professor. I see the world as a big university
Mm-hmm.
full of information. And if you want to have a good relationship, or if you want to lose weight, or if you want to make money, there's always a book out there. There's a video out there. Most people don't study. They just try to wing it. They try to figure it out on their own, and then they do it wrong. I don't want to do that. I want to be alert, conscious, and intentional to say, my goal is to be the best. at this because you got one damn shot. You're gonna be dead one day. Your life will be over. You got one damn shot at this to do this right, and I'm not gonna waste my time by being mediocre.
That is the most romantic thing you have ever said to me.
Really?
I did not know that you actually like explore how to be a better husband.
Yeah, I study you. I watch other husbands. I watch, I mean, I feel like relationships are hard. It's hard to figure out how to get along with another person. Like we have challenges in our relationship. Everybody should know that. Everybody listening, just know our shit ain't perfect by any stretch, right? And it's like, but there's an intentionality that has to kick in where I'm like, okay, I need tools. Like I can't, like the way we communicate. Sometimes we talk over each other or whatever. I had to study that. Like, how do you have a conversation with somebody who talks as much as you do?
Wait, who talks more?
I
You or
I
me?
probably I don't know who talks the most, but I will say that I know I talk a lot, right? And I had to be aware of that. But also, you talk a lot, and it can cause challenges,
I
right?
think it's just so funny. We go running and you would be talking my ear off about stocks and stuff for 3 miles. And I would say one thing at mile number 4, and you would turn and look at me and you would be like, dang, you very talkative today. And I used to
I
crack
know,
up
I
because
know, I
you
know.
were the one that talked the most.
You're so right. You're
It's
so
so
right.
funny. And I just thought that's so
Brittany
adorable.
says I talk way more. She's probably right.
Our conversations end up like this, where I just do a lot of listening to you. And I try to say one thing, and then you'd be like, wow, you're chatty today.
I know, I know. I need to quit. I need to quit. Well, we've been both extra chat. We've been on here 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Let me tell you something. We
Go ahead.
both talked our butts off today.
We did.
This
There's a
ain't
lot to
right.
say. We're just sitting here chilling. And in case y'all wondering, if y'all want a visual, we're just laying here under the blankets together talking to you guys. Like, so we're literally laid right next to each other. But we're on our honeymoon, so we thought we would just kind of talk. And so, by the way, hit the thumbs up button if you could. Please hit the thumbs up button. And there's Alicia's website if you want to take a look at that. And also, she's coaching with Dr. Alicia on Instagram. So go follow her on Instagram and just if you're cool and respectful, then we're glad to have you. We do a good job of keeping the trolls out so that we can have productive conversations. We like black people that want to do positive stuff. We're not into the craziness. So take care, guys. We're about to get out of here. Have a good night. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, and I'll see you guys soon. You want to say goodbye?
Yeah, I want to say goodbye. I want to say that this was a great conversation, and I'm so happy we finally, after a whole month of marriage, I finally have a honeymoon.
Yes. And we're gonna.
I've been looking forward to
Well, we didn't
this.
get to do our honeymoon right after the wedding, but we are gonna do like 3 parts. I want
It's
to do.
going to be three
I want to do
parts.
something on land. I want by air and by sea. So we flew to Vegas. I also want to fly to Boston. I haven't been to Boston in a while, and also I want to go get on a boat. A Royal Caribbean is sailing again, and also I think getting in a car and driving across the country would be fun.
Oh, so it'll be air, water, and land.
Yeah, land, air,
Oh,
sea.
I love it.
Yep, yep, yep. So I think that'll be a
And then
blast.
maybe we'll do space one day. Branson,
I,
the
you know what?
Branson
I, I'm
company.
I'm I'm gonna be probably the 10 millionth person to go into space.
Boys, you know I'm not going to do space. You know
Yeah,
that.
I need them to go in because they're gonna have a disaster. They're gonna have some ship go up there, a bunch of people gonna get
Who's going
killed.
to be the sacrificial person that's going to go up there?
Right, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna have a launch and something bad's gonna happen. A bunch of people gonna die. They're gonna have
But
long
then I'll get on it. Once the
investigations.
crash happens, then I'll get
Hmm.
on because then they fix it.
Right,
And then I'm going to sign up.
yeah. I need y'all to find y'all's blind spots first before I go up in space with anybody. Now, Cajun Jim wants us to follow him on IG, so I'm gonna look up Cajun Jim. And
Cajun
everybody
Jim.
watching, follow Cajun Jim. Cajun Jim seems like a cool guy. He
Cajun
has a lot of good
Jim.
questions, made a lot of good comments, so I respect you, brother. So, anyway, everybody, have a good day, night, whatever this is. I think the sun's coming up pretty soon, and we'll check back in a little bit later. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.